언제 어디서나 깔끔하고 상쾌하게.
이런 게 트래비 스타일.
Stylish sparkling water, Trevi.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another day of Overwatch Apex Season 4. I'm Kalios, joined at the desk by the wonderful Wolf. Welcome back from Taiwan, good sir.
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to have some more Apex here with you guys. And tonight is a very special night. We're going to have the first ever female player to play in Apex. Geguri is here. She's on the Orcas roster. It's also, for an organization, the first time we're going to be seeing ROX, their foray into Overwatch, in televised matches here in this studio. So very exciting to see how they do, because of course they're a very famous team from League of Legends, and now their foray into Overwatch. We'll see how successful they can become.
Yeah, kind of want to have that same level of success that they had in League of Legends, as you mentioned. Maybe not so much this last season, but prior to that,
right.
In 2016, before that, that's kind of what they want to channel here today, because they have some stiff opposition. They're going up against the Afreeca Freecs. Blue roster have had some changes. For instance, Mono not going to be on the roster anymore. We have Brek coming in, as well as Kalios for the tank line for the squad. So we're not sure how much that's going to change things up, but there's still Recry, there's still ArHaN. They have Lucid backing them, IDK as well, so they're still going to be very formidable as far as the DPS is concerned. So Geguri especially, it's going to be her job, if she's going to bring out the likes of that Zarya, to control the Genji of ArHaN.
Absolutely, that's going to be kind of the key factor. And remember, with the mobility changes to the Graviton Surge, if she can actually place those correctly, ArHaN's not getting out, no escapes, no real mobility there. So that's going to be a big factor. We've already seen a few Graviton Surges here in Season 4. It's not only the Orcas that we'll be seeing tonight as a new team going into Apex. It will also be the debut of the NC Foxes, very strong challenger team, sponsored by the new startup company MC, and we'll see if they can perform well here tonight against Flashlux, the team that just never made it out of Apex groups.
I think you would have to say that just on paper, this is probably Flashlux's best chance to make it out of groups. given how their previous seasons have gone. Kongdoo Uncia did lose their first match against their sister team of Panthera. But that's going to be the opposition that Flashlights maybe has to worry about. But maybe NC Foxes are going to be a bit of a sleeper team here in this group because they did have a very nice record in Challenger. Their only losses were to GC Busan and LW Red, losing to them twice each. But every other team, the likes of Metabellum, ROX Orcas, they were able to take them down. So we'll see how Flashlights stands up to them today, because honestly, if they could walk away with a very convincing win, then maybe we would actually see Flashlights, the promotion tournament kings, make their way out of the group stage into the round of 8 for the first time ever.
They are really having a rough time. They have some new roster changes as well we'll be talking about a little bit later, but I mean, the Flashlights has been a staple of Apex, but not in the way that if you're a Flashlights fan, you would like them to be. But we'll see how they do. We've seen Metabellum already, and after tonight, we're going to have seen all the new teams that have never played in Apex before. Luxury Watch Red, of course, finally making it in. So this season is very exciting for teams that were hyped up from Challenge that never actually made their debut because they struggled in promotions, or, you know, the system just didn't allow for them to progress. We saw Luxury Watch Red just barely not making the cut for Season 3, but now they're all here. The hyped up ROX Orca team that was hyped for so long, Luxury Watch Red. So this season is exciting because we have new faces to some of the people that only watch Apex. But if you're a hardcore Korean Overwatch fan, you get to see these players on the big stage. Yeah,
and of course you can see ROX Orcas fans here out in the audience, have their banners ready to represent, so carrying over from the other games, they're the ROX organization. But of course, Afreeca Freecs Blue still have quite the fandom, and they are showing up here today in droves.
Yeah, you got to eat the meat, but in order to do that, you got to win the series.
And of course, all the posters about eating.
Yep. And if you guys have never had Korean fried chicken, you should definitely give it a try. You've been missing out.
I've never had any Korean fried chicken that quite looks like that, though. The bones coming out either side.
It says, instead of win and go eat, it says to eat and then go win. And wow, this is a pretty cool sign for Geguri. It says, wow, you're so cool. So that's the idea, is Geguri, as her nickname in Korean, is the Green Frog, will play her first match tonight.
Is that a Simpsons character?
It's definitely, I think it's Simpsons ArHaN.
Yeah, it has that style going for it.
It's an ArHaN fan, so you know a team is doing well with we got fangirls drawing Simpsons stylized signs of one of their most famous players. We have to remember tonight too, this is not the Afreeca Freecs Blue that we saw go to the finals of Season 1.
Yes.
And, of course, make the semifinals of Season 3. This is a different roster. Mono was arguably their best player, many will say, and will tell you that, you know, obviously he got drafted for the national team, but without him here, we saw Brek on MVP space, not the greatest tank player of his time. Kalios was the sub for RunAway. We talked about how we might see him. We were wondering, is he going to come in? But he had contract issues and could never play for the team. So I'm excited to see him in his foray as well. But, you know, this is a series that ROX could upset a little bit with.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and actually see the players as we introduce them on stage.
Overwatch Apex Season 4, energized by HOT6. Round Robin. Today's matchup: Afreeca Freecs Blue, ROX Orcas.
There they are on stage. Got a good look at Geguri there on the sidelines, but stiff opposition for them. Afreeca Freecs Blue, even with the swaps coming through. Again, the likes of Recry and ArHaN, backed by Lucid, are going to be something to be concerned about. Brek and Kalios coming through might be the easiest part of this team to break through. And if you can get rid of the tanks, perhaps that will be enough.
Yeah, and in the past, it was Brek who played the Reinhardt, where he was most famous for it. it's Kalios, I think, who will be the target if we're going to see that what's been coined the microwave coming out from Zarya, from Geguri, is to burn down Kalios so that the DPSs, the star player Krong, can find that damage when we go into the larger fights there. So I think that Geguri's got a big ask here in defeating Kalios, who obviously was good enough to be a sub player for RunAway when they were a top 2 team in Apex. So no slouch. It's all right. Clearly friendly at these two.
Nice power handshake they got going on there in the center stage. So these guys should be a bit pumped. And something that I'm actually kind of excited to maybe see here today from Afreeca Freecs Blue is TaiDala, who is sitting on the sub roster, actually was signed to the ROX Orcas, formerly on Afreeca Red, moved to ROX Orcas for the last season of Challenger, then came and joined Afreeca Freecs Blue for this season. Could see him pitted against his former team, which I think would be an exciting little bit of a spat between the two.
Absolutely, and he's, of course, was on the sister team that could never play in Apex. His biggest performances were in the promotions tournament where he and his team just could not quite break through. We saw Afreeca versus Afreeca back then. It was Blue that made it. He's on the roster, but he is a sub. And if Kalios underperforms on the D.Va or the Zarya, that's going to be the role that TaiDala plays. So if he is struggling against Geguri as we go into these games, TaiDala may come out for that role. He also is more famous for his Genji play, of course. He could also play some Doomfist tonight, but we just don't know. But I think there is a very high chance that he comes in as a sub if the Afreeca Freecs do struggle. The ROX Orcas, however, they have no subs available today. What we see, the 6-man roster, will be played all evening long. And Geguri, maybe some nerves, maybe she struggles. There's no backup plan.
I mean, for those of, there's probably a decent few people here in the audience that don't know that much about Geguri, so how about we just kind of go through her history getting started in Overwatch?
Yeah, I mean, Geguri is one of the most famous players in Korea. And, it's funny, writer Rally Japa, he said, if I had to say it best, I would say, out of the all Lunatic-Hai players, if you take them away, she's probably the most famous Overwatch player in Korea. But she's not only just a player, she's a streamer and a caster, but her story started when she was so good on solo queue, on the ladder. People facing her accused her of hacking, of not being a real player, or not being female either, and she proved them all wrong. And she streamed, she showed, I'm one of the best Zaryas in the world, I'm one of the best in top 500 on Overwatch, and she became a very popular streamer. She cast on the analysis desk for the finals for Apex Season 2. She cast a lot of Challenger. Of course, when she was casting, she was not on the roster. This is going to be her first televised match, as we said before, but a very famous player because she's female, because she defied the expectations people had for her online. She defied people who said, no, you can't be this good. I think you're cheating. You're using an aimbot, and it was not the case. So,
yeah. Literally got pulled into the EnVyUs studio to play in front of them on camera, and actually showed that she just is in fact that good at playing the Zarya. So there's a very high chance that we see it brought out here today, or at least I hope so. If she's going over to something like the Winston, as great as that'll be to see, it'll still be a little bit disappointing. Yeah, we don't get to see the famed hero from her.
That's right. I think that as soon as we go into potentially King's Row, which will be if Afreeca Freecs wins control, I think they will pick the King's Row. We will see it for sure there. Huge cheer as her player portrait is shown on screen here. And she's also famous for her Roadhog play. Again, not really in the meta right now. Yeah. Very unlikely we'll see a single second of the hero. But I suppose if things get dire, maybe we'll see her throw it out there. But just another hero that should be shocked to see from her, but more shocked that it's being played overall.
All players are in the booths. We've got everybody introduced. We're about ready to figure out what our first battleground of the day is going to be for this best of 5 set. Afreeca Freecs Blue, again, 15-0 run in last season of Apex before getting 4-0'd in the semifinal by Lunatic-Hai, who went on to win it all versus Kongdoo Panthera. So Afreeca Freecs Blue, they want to start off similarly to Season 3, but with a victory at the very end of it, and that can very well start here today.
Could very well. We're going to Nepal for a randomly selected control map here, and we'll see how this one pans out. Neither team really having a preference in terms of control right now. When we got player profiles, all teams are of course asked which control maps they prefer, and neither of these teams saying they feel strongly one way or the other. So this is going to be kind of the test run for the Orcas. Can they flip points? Can they take team fights? And will the momentum of this first map, which is always the craziest one, control, if it goes so strongly in the Freecs blue favor, maybe that's when Geguri starts getting nervous and things could fall apart. So I think for morale, for momentum, this first map is going to be very important, not necessarily for the Freecs, but for the Orcas here.
Yeah, they at least want to be competitive. If ROX Orcas can't come up with a victory here today, they want to put up one hell of a fight, because then at least they can instill some fear in the hearts of those other teams waiting in their group, waiting for the round of 8 if they're able to advance in a first or second place spot out of this group. So let's go ahead, see what happens, see what kind of fight both of these teams are going to put up against each other as we dive onto Nepal for our first map of the day.
I get it.
I couldn't even understand that one, I'll be completely honest. I know that it was for the ROX Orcas.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either, but you could just assume it's something about the Orcas doing well there. So we're heading into our first map here. This is not going to be the map where Zarya excels. You can use Graviton Surge.
All right, let's start things off with a bang. Thank you,
Bang
ArHaN.
indeed, and we'll see how many big bangs we see in this series with Geguri, but when we go into this particular map, we're not going into Sanctum yet. Sanctum is where Zarya is really going to shine. We have seen Graviton Surges used in the pillar of the center of the map here on Shrine, where it's impossible to avoid it, basically, or to eat it with a Diva, because you kind of just throw it into the wall. There's no way that you can absorb. So something that can be used there, but it's a very wide open map, and so the open spaces don't really empower Zarya all too well, compared to when we go to Sanctum, where you can see the early caps and controlling of the choke points, where you kind of camp spawn in a way.
I mean, also on Village as well, when you get down onto the points, just an open room, not that large, so something like a Graviton Surge in the center could pull multiple people in, and if you have that Diva ultimate to couple with it, then you get that bigger bang. That really could translate into a victory, at least a point flip for the ROX Orcas. So we'll see what they're going to start things off with here on Shrine. I still wouldn't be shocked if we just see the Zarya straight up from Geguri, but hoping that she does have some other heroes practiced up. I expect that ROX Orcas have been working with her to make sure that she's been bringing other heroes up to the level of her Zarya. So we'll see what they have for us once we get this audio issue out of the way. Because turns out you need to hear things when it comes down to Overwatch. It's
very important to hear those audio cues and to know what your teammates are thinking, you know.
Yeah, that too. Not even just the cues for the audio and, you know, the abilities coming up, but also just being able to talk to your teammates seems like a pretty great thing.
Seems pretty good. It is going to be Geguri at least starting things off here on the Diva. And when you're up against players on the other side, like ArHaN, like Recry, is so great on the Soldier, also on the Tracer, that protection is going to be very important.
All right, it's going to be near mirrored here as we do start things off, but ArHaN going to be on that Genji as expected. And Striker over onto the Tracer, so first going to be the contention here onto the point as Brek dives in, goes rather low, has to kite back around the corner, keeps himself alive, and now ArHaN is just straight into the back, but they turn around, the Helix Rockets come through, and Krong just takes him down immediately. Recry trying to pick up the pieces here, but both DPS members of Afreeca Freecs Blue will go down.
Yeah, huge cheer from the crowd here as ROX wins the first team fight. They nearly had, Recry, I should say more than they, had so many low members to try to pick off there, but he was zoned out really well there by Legend, who's probably the most famous ROX player on their roster from Challenge. His Winston is so strong. He's so good at healing and actually preventing the Tracers from doing damage. You think about Geguri on the Diva, she's going to do a lot of absorption, but it's also Winston oftentimes that can make it so Tracer can't get those secured kills.
Right now, it's got to keep Legend safe as he does go quite low. Go ahead and pop him back up. It's going to be a near flip coming through here for Freeca Freecs Blue as they start pushing back in, and ArHaN has the Dragon Blade ready to go, dives into the back line, 2 swipes, takes down Dry. Right as the Town Barrier comes through, so a bit too late to save the Zenyatta. He's not going to be getting too much else with that Dragon Blade, and the flip still has not come through. 42% ticking upward here for the ROX Orcas as Geguri gets popped out of the mech, but it's a double kill coming through for Striker off screen as Lucid and IDK both go down. but the rest of Afreeca Freecs Blue are not going down without a fight. They fire back, getting rid of the DPS members near a near team wipe here onto the ROX Orcas. We will see the point get flipped.
And Krong, he used the tack visor, but unfortunately couldn't find anything with it. He didn't get the kills he was looking for. If he had been able to find one pick there, I think the Striker Pulse Bomb would have turned the fight, but was not meant to be. And now Afreeca Freecs Blue have the ult advantage because that tack visor was used. ArHaN's already halfway to that next Dragon Blade, and with the sound barrier available, this should be the Freecs looking to at least get up to even here in control meter.
Well, sound barrier comes down from Afreeca Freecs Blue. They want to stay into the fight as Brek goes low, pops the Primal Rage to keep himself alive. ArHaN tries to dash away, but Krong yet again has some beautiful tracking coming through. Is able to take him down. Kalios as well falling off screen. It seems like ROX, well, it might just have a very swift retake, especially as Brek does go down.
Very little used in order to flip this too. They hold on to the offensive ultimates, the Pulse Bomb, the tack visor, aid, soon to have the sound barrier. And we talked about the ult lead that the Freecs had, and they are going to have a lot of tools to retake this, but if Orcas can buy time using the self-destruct, try to build up to 99, they're still in great position here. And I feel like the only thing that's really missing for them is the Primal Rage. If they had that, they would probably hard fight for the 100% capture. You see Afreeca Freecs going to try to use that Dragon Blade to start things off.
Well, Striker's going to start things off with that Pulse Bomb, throws that down, but ArHaN here with the Dragon Blade out has already taken out two, make it a third as Legend will fall. And that might just be enough to shatter the ROX Orcas. Multiple kills coming through, no one going down on the side of the Afreeca Freecs, and we'll just go ahead and get rid of aid right at the very end for good measure. So another fast swap coming through, but it's 88% for ROX Orcas, so one more take could mean that overtime force.
And I mean, this is them really not using anything. That was the question, was were they going to hard commit? They used only the Pulse Bomb to try to defend. Striker couldn't kill Kalios quickly enough, so it didn't work out in the end, but they have tools to retake. They absolutely do.
Krong trying to be careful here. Pops the tack visor, goes low, 79 HP, and two smacks from Brek will take down both he and Try simultaneously. And yet again, aid with the sound barrier is just not fast enough to help keep the rest of the members alive, so he will also fall.
Very painful too that he used the sound barrier without getting the impact he was looking for. So that was their biggest tool they had to try to hard engage. With maybe using that, Legend could have built up for the Primal Rage. They don't have that tool anymore. Transcendence might not be available. I mean, we're talking 85% here. No tack visor either. This looks like it may be a win for Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, they can get it in the overtime force for sure, but ArHaN is also very dangerously close to yet another Dragon Blade, but he gets taken down from the self-destruct from Geguri. Sound barrier now thrown down by the Afreeca Freecs, and Striker gets killed by Lucid, and no one is on the point.
Okay, well, rookie mistakes here. Chasing a little bit too hard there for the kills. I mean, ArHaN got killed there by the self-destruct. That was a great start. They wanted to crush the fight to not only recapture, but get the team wipe so that they got the win with it. They wanted to do both. They weren't willing to use that zoning to get the cap and then maybe lose it right afterwards. They got greedy. No one was standing on the point, and I say rookie mistake, but this happens at all levels of play. We saw it in the grand finals. Things like this do happen where you get a little bit tunnel vision, and it's unfortunate here, but this gives Afreeca Freecs, despite losing that fight, the edge here in this best of three.
I mean, we saw it a couple times just 2 days ago. Libero getting a 4K on the Doomfist, yet the rest of the team loses point A of King's Row on defense, so it does happen. Pretty much across the board. One of those things that everybody can really work on is having somebody on the point, but here we go. We will move over to Village here for our second round of Nepal. It's just an all-out brawl, but ArHaN will be the one finding the first kill. Now the second as Legend goes down, but ROX Orcas are able to fire back, getting rid of Brek, Lucid, and now ArHaN with the boot will get taken out, and yet again the Orcas will have a very strong start to the round and should be able to get in on top of the point for the first cap.
And also, look at the swap here. It's Krong now onto the Genji, so we're seeing him switch away from the Soldier on this point. I think it's the better move. And he's a player who told us, you know, and he said in his opening interviews, I want to be a superstar. I want to be like the legends. Like, who are you? Like, you know, Haksal. And so he's going to now show his very first Genji. We'll see how the Dragon Blades fly, as the first cap is for the Orcas.
They do have it, almost give it over to Afreeca Freecs Blue, but do go ahead and peel back in onto the point. But now it's just the killing fields here for Afreeca Freecs Blue. They just go in. A near team wipe will happen. Try, yeah, just coming up off the respawn, stopping that team kill pop up from coming through, and Orcas just get swept under the rug immediately. A much faster retake here for Afreeca Freecs this time around.
The coordination for dive is better for them. You can see when Brek comes in with ArHaN, they're calling out targets, they're picking them off very quickly. Legend is usually the first one to fall because they want to get that tank out of the way and then just bleed through the weaker members on the back line. And we were just seeing this crazy systematic dive from Afreeca Freecs Blue, and the Orcas don't have the coordination to stop it feels, on control.
Recry getting caught up here, everyone trying to jump in on him. Pulse Bomb comes out, but can be seeing anything. Now throws that down in onto Geguri, will get the pop. They're out of the suit, and she should be taken care of rather swiftly. The sound barrier will come through, helping to keep her and the rest of the team alive at the moment as Krong draws out the Dragon Blade. Gets a couple swipes through, but the Transcendence is there to go ahead and mitigate the majority of the damage, so no one will go down on the side of Afreeca until Lucid just recently falls. Kalios will also be joining him, but it's still going to be Afreeca Freecs Blue trading upward, at least evenly, while they control the point, 52% going upward.
They hold on to the Dragon Blade too. We'll see if ArHaN wants to use it. Doesn't necessarily need it here to help pick off Legend. So staggered respawns is pretty terrible now for the Orcas. That Dragon Blade was so nullified by IDK, who had two really nice boops there away. So then when he wasn't able to do the burst damage, the Transcendence healed everybody up. So IDK just showing his prowess on the Lucio. And now a little bit of spawn camping, coming out from the Freecs as they have ult advantage. It's going to be very difficult to use this self-destruct to get the flip. They don't have sound barrier.
Getting rid of Recry is a nice way to start things off, but ArHaN is looking to trade it back. Already gets rid of Krong, the enemy Genji. Not standing a chance, but he can't get much else because of the Transcendence yet again. But Afreeca Freecs Blue still have the point, now being back-capped by somebody on the side of ROX Orcas. Nearly have it for the flip, will be contested. It's up to 94%. They have to get back into this one. We'll see the self-destruct thrown down by Kalios here, looking for something. Not going to be finding anything, but Brek comes up with a double, and now overtime is ticking down. Striker dashing around, trying to keep this one in contention. Is very low on HP, and now the sound barrier has come through for Afreeca. Striker will dash back in. Legend rejoining here with the rest of the squad. They will be taken care of, and this might just be the end of Nepal.
It looks like it. That's going to be the kill there onto Striker. Overtime ticks away, and even though there were signs of life in this for sure for the Orcas, Afreeca Freecs Blue has the coordinated dive, and Brek, we wondered how well he was going to play on this roster, but the communication is clearly there. When we see the dive-ins, it's ArHaN and Brek who go into the backlines, kill the Lucio or kill the Zenyatta. Or if Legend is overextending, they pick him off first. And remember, Legend is very famous for his Winston play in Challenger, but when you're playing against a new level of play, when you're playing against the last season semifinalist, Afreeca Freecs Blue, maybe you can't play as aggressively. It doesn't work as well against better coordination. And we didn't know how well Kalios was going to play the D.Va, but he's not disappointing either. But I think the main factors here are just good target selection with the dive. And, you know, the thing that really cost them the map there, if I want to be really picky, is they tried to contest really hard on that second point. The split spawns meant they had so much less time, and they gave some extra ult charge there for the Freecs. It just didn't come back in as a 6-man. They came back in as 2, 2, and 2 very slowly. And then we had Aid on the point trying to buy time, but not giving healing. The sound barrier usage wasn't perfect. But this is just map number 1. And I feel like we had a good showing from them. And the fear that we were talking about of maybe if they get crushed, they start to get a little bit nervous. They start to feel the pressure of their first match on stage. But I don't think that with what we just saw there, they should start to feel the pressure.
Yeah. Well, now they get their map selection at least, as they are the losers of that first one. So Nepal going over to Afreeca Freecs Blue will start things off 1-0 here in this best of 5. We'll see what ROX Orcas are going to favor as far as their hybrid map coming into this one. Maybe they do want to pick a map where the Zarya is a bit more viable. King's Robe, for instance, we see a lot of Zarya's Graviton Surge into the statue, buy the health pack, pull everybody through, and then D.Va ult behind. So perhaps they want to move over to that map and try that sort of strategy, or maybe they're going to surprise us a little bit more.
I think King's Row is the safe play, and when you're down 0-1, you want to go with the safe play. And we will see, no doubt, loud cheers, or, you know, hear cheers. I guess you can't really see those unless you got some sort of super-powered goggles. We were going to hear the cheers when we see the Zarya play. You have to expect, with this map pick, Geguri brings it out. We'll see Legend this time on the Reinhardt on defense. And we'll see if they want to do a Phalanx-esque defense with either the Hanzo or the Junkrat, or if they want to play it a little bit more standard. With how well we've been seeing out of Krong, the Genji, and also his decent soldier play, they may just take the more old-school approach with the 2-2-2.
See what these guys are going to piece together. King's Row, as we were talking about, does get selected, so this is going to be a bit even for either side. Of course, the Freecs Blue are also going to be very well practiced on this, but this is going to be the most comfort that ROX can afford themselves at the moment. So we'll see if they can have some better results. Maybe make it all the way to the end of King's Row, if not win the map itself, because they came damn close to winning that first round on Nepal. Could have extended us into Sanctum, but unfortunately, we're bested by the Freecs Blue. So let's see how they fare as we dive into our second map of this series. It's King's Row.
I get it.
So attack side first for the Freecs, and two, a little bit of surprise, and we haven't walked out of the gates yet. Geguri is on the Diva locked in currently, so I was talking about how they would more likely take a 2-2-2 approach because that's how they've been playing the map in Challengers, but you would have thought with Geguri on the roster, this would be the place where we'd see the Zarya. There are a few Zarya players that stand out throughout history of Overwatch. Players like Zunba, Geguri is famous as a streamer, right, more than a pro gamer. Yeah. And players like Hoon, right? So these are the players, when you think about King's Row, you think if one of these players is on the roster, you have to at least entertain the possibility of using some pseudo-phalanx style, the very defensive, turtling style, but not going to be the case here for the Orcas. They want to use Krong instead on the high ground here with the Soldier, and it's going to be kind of old school meta, or more standard, I should say, not the new age Zarya Reinhardt.
Yeah, just going to be sticking with this one. We'll see how Krong is going to fare over onto the Soldier yet again. Genji wasn't the most convincing, but then again, he's being compared actively to ArHaN, so that does make it a bit of a tough sell. Recry trying to spot there with the Sonic Arrow. It's actually going to swap over to the McCree, as Freecs Blue will be running the Phalanx comp with the Genji coming through.
Okay, let's see how this one pans out. Going to be very, very slow pushing with this Reinhardt here, and McCree needs to make sure that he can get the damage done. Legend diving in real deep here, but they get the pick onto Recry. That's half the damage gone.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and stop up that McCree from building up for the Deadeye. ArHaN dashes his way back to safety around the corner, as the rest of his team here to back him up.
The problem with this comp, obviously, or one of the weaknesses of the comp, is that everyone has to be there. So even just one kill, just one pick means, okay, we got to reset, we got to get back, and you lose all of your position. It's a very tug-of-war, shove in to the point. Now, they're successful of getting in here this time.
Well, that's a really high energy Kalios right there. Caps up to 100 in just a few seconds, and now it's just burning away through Legend with the help of Recry. Will take him down. The Nano Boost will come through. Graviton Surge very swiftly, and they are just going to destroy the ROX Orcas. Triple kill for Kalios, double for Brek, and that is going to be point A going to Freecs.
We know that one's going to be in the highlight reel. Watch this one again. No one is even nearby. Look at Geguri's positioning. Defense Matrix totally positioned the opposite way, and when she turned around to use it, she was already demeched. Just, I think, a panic moment there as she realized what was going to happen. And, I mean, that's going to be on the highlight reel. If, Freecs go round of 4, you have this little thing where it says, you see Kalios like, Kalios, and then you see the big Graviton Surge. That one's going to be there.
All right, well, lots of swaps coming through here for the ROX Orcas. Striker over onto the McCree, Krong onto the Sombra on the Streets phase. He's had a couple health packs to choose from, and Legend is also trying to go toe-to-toe on that Reinhardt. But again, Brek, this was what he was known for, as we do see that Deadeye popped out, but Recry will get booped back, so not going to be finding any targets as Brek does get slept, knocked down to the ground.
He's hacked, slept, and knocked down, but still so much healing protects him. And look at this. He tops down the Earth Shatter. I don't know if that was even needed, but this has been a dominant Streets phase. The Orcas are going to have to regroup here, but I mean, as you said before that fight happened, Brek's famous for his Earth Shatters and his good positional play on King's Row with Reinhardt when he was the meta tank player, hero. But I mean, disjointed, I think, at best, was the ROX Orcas defense. They didn't have an EMP yet, obviously. They didn't have the Earth Shatter. They'd made a lot of hero swaps, so it's tough to have perfect coordination when you're making moves like that. But now ArHaN is going to play the Hanzo.
They're just going all out on this one. We saw this from
look at
Team
this
Korea.
shot.
Another one coming through, locks up multiple people, but the kills have not spilled through yet. They do get a couple of Striker and Legend go down, but the big clump of them locked up into that Graviton Surge have not fallen. Krong is able to go ahead and answer one back. Geguri over onto this famed Zarya, has the nano boost, tries to fire away, but doesn't quite have the energy to get through the Reinhardt shield, but she will force Brek back. They will stop the payload just in front of point B.
There's a little bit of hyper aggression from Kalios. So the Graviton Surge accuracy there was basically perfect right through the corner. But the real story was Krong got 3 kills on the backline. That's what I want to see. If we had to replay that, it would be pretty hype. Now, we do have possibly the Hanzo Dragon Strike combo to come in here. He's just going to throw it out blind, actually.
Yeah, it's tossing it through, but won't be finding anything for it. And now we'll have to go ahead and kite back away from this position. Shoots out the scatter arrow, but won't find anything. In the meantime, Geguri finally did take down Brek. It took a little bit longer, but she got him.
I think that the Freecs are having a little bit too much fun here with their large advantage. I think that starting to get a little bit more coordinated, wait for the Graviton Surge, perhaps hold on to that Dragon Strike would have been the better option, but either way, they're very close to that first checkpoint here. And now they're going to have to set up for the next push. They don't really have any ults to hard engage. They could use the nano boost, obviously, to lead into an Earth Shatter or lead into that Graviton Surge for the approach.
Let's see how Geguri can land this one. She's building up for it. 73% nearly has it ready to go. As they keep poking out, Orcas just trying to keep this payload locked up. Playing around the back side. They're playing on the Afreeca Freecs side, really, here. As Brek goes in for the charge, not going to be finding the kill. Geguri pushing forward yet again, trying to build up for that energy. They get rid of Brek. Earth Shatter comes down. They lock up one. They get Lucid. They get rid of ArHaN. And ROX Orcas will be able to maintain control of the payload.
And now Geguri has the Graviton Surge. They have a lot to use with this. They don't have the Earth Shatter, but this could be a massive opportunity with no Diva on the side of the Freecs. If Striker's in proper position, he could have an incredible Deadeye. So, going to be the battle of the McCrees here for a moment, but an extra tool definitely on the side of the Orcas here. And Geguri is leading the charge, you can see, up at the front lines, just behind Legend.
It's been a meme for a while, but beautiful tracking. If you really want to see it, just keep your eyes on Geguri here with this Zarya.
She's going to go for it.
She's pushing in, looking for the Graviton Surge, pulls them all in. That's going to be the sound barrier coming down, and Legend gets slapped on the backside. Recry's Deadeye finds 2, Geguri and Striker both falling. Brek with a hack, doesn't even matter, can still just swing away. Takes down 8, and that should be the payload. Maybe making it into the station. Recry, he's going to get slipped as he tries to push through and get rid of Try.
A nice sleep, but I don't think it's going to matter. We talked about the Battle of the Crees there. It was an old Western movie, essentially. It was Recry who killed Striker first. They both used the Deadeye. We didn't see it on screen, but he was able to get that kill, ruined the combo. That was the only thing they had to pair.
Got the Sonic Arrow down. He spots multiple and has that
He's
Dragon
going
Strike
for it.
ready to go. Will throw this one out. Finds a decent bit of damage in on the Legend, and he's going to get followed up on by Brek. Takes him down, and ArHaN also gets Striker off screen, able to get rid of one, but it's very much ROX Orcas losing out on this fight. Geguri trying to retreat. Will have her barrier taken down, and that last shot there from Kalios will take her out. So near team wipe yet again onto the Orcas as this payload keeps pushing forward, just now in front of point C with 2 minutes remaining.
And yet again, they stagger the respawns. The Orcas, I feel like, don't realize often. Oh, hold that thought. Look at this potential backdoor Earth Shatter. He's still going to go for it. It is shut down.
Straight into the bubble, and now he's going to be slept up on the stairs. Goes low, but is still alive in the fight. Meanwhile, Legend swinging away in the back line as Geguri moves back over onto the Diva, gets the nano boost, and will go ahead and take down Kalios. So without the tank line, Afreeca Freecs Blue have to kite back around the first corner.
That was a cool idea there for Brek, but when you get spotted and all Legend has to do is right-click to put up a shield, it's not going to necessarily work out. ArHaN's going to possibly toss out another blind Dragon Strike here. I feel like this
I'm really
could be
surprised
paired.
he's stuck with this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this could be paired with the Zarya a little bit better.
I feel
like it builds so quickly.
I think we might be seeing him Dragon Strike from the spawn room and then swap, perhaps. He was starting to kite back. Can't quite see. Never mind. He's back up onto the high ground now. So for a second, I thought he was, but he was just peeling back to regroup with the rest of the team.
This could be an opportunity. It's going to be about Geguri trying to eat this, though. She did switch back onto the Diva. He's watching. He sees the defense matrix go down.
Yeah, she's throwing that one up. Dragon Strike does come through his Legend and Brek are just in the corners, but they're just going to go ahead, sacrifice, have a battle as they both charge off the side of the map, killing each other. A nice little embrace as the Graviton Surge does come down. Geguri immediately popped out of that Diva mech, was not able to have the defense matrix up for that one, and that might just be the completion here. Nobody can contest this Legend. tries to swap, can't get there in time.
I think Legend probably shouldn't have gone for the,
The
if I go
suicide.
down, I'm taking you with me style there.
Yeah.
Removing his shield there allowed the extra damage to come out from the Zarya. He had so much energy there. I feel like a point I was going to make before we had that Brek shenanigan where he was trying to do the backdoor Earth Shatter. One thing I've noticed about their play here in this series is they don't often realize or adapt when they're losing a team fight very well. They continue to fight and then retreat late, so they just kind of stagger their death timers and they end up with this situation where it's like, okay, we lost a fight, and by the time the team should be regrouped for the next push, 2 more members are dying at that moment, and they have to wait a little bit longer, and it's 4v6, and that allowed so much free pushing there at the end. So realizing fights are lost earlier and just either killing yourself or jumping off the side or retreating faster, I think is something that they could certainly improve, as we're just seeing a lot of staggered death timers.
Yeah. Well, in the end, it was a nice little delay there by the ROX Orcas, especially in front of point B. They were able to buy themselves quite a bit of time, so 29 seconds is all that's remaining for the Afreeca Freecs as they move over to the defense.
Maybe a expectation that we're going to see the Zarya Reinhardt defense for the Freecs, possibly even the Junkrat, because we do see the Pharmacy is locked in for the Orcas for the attack. It's very strong against that type of setup, but unfortunately for them, it's not going to be very strong against Recry's Soldier here and Lucid on the Ana. So that may be a very easily knocked out of the sky Pharmacy comp, but we'll see how it pans out here. They may simply switch it as soon as they see that it's not the Reinhardt Zarya that they expected.
All things considered, ROX Orcas seems like they're still having a pretty good time there in the booth, or at least Legend is after his nice suicide charge to take out Brek. We'll see how Orcas are going to handle this one. Legend's actually going to be swapping over onto the Doomfist. Striker starting things off likely for the Sonic Arrow. They'll be moving back over to the Tracer. This is going to be a triple DPS with Krong hovering in the skies with the Pharmacy comp.
The idea here is for the Doomfist to kill Recry, so Legend is going to try to get the picks onto Recry, so then the Pharmacy can do extra work. As you can see already very quickly figuring out where they are and relegating them into this narrow choke point. Look at that concussive blast as well. Just really good usage here to try to zone them into DPS range, but Legend unable to get the picks. He is in good position here.
Needs to get healed up a little bit. There we go. We'll get a bit from Mercy. Charges in, finds IDK right off the bat. Will get slept, almost gets taken out. Will finally fall as Kalios follows up for the kill. Recry at the moment just trying to get rid of the Pharah out of the sky, as he and Aid have both gone very low. There we go. Finally gets one half. Should be able to get rid of the other very swiftly. Double kill for him. And Afreeca Freecs Blue will be holding this one quite comfortably. Not even a first tick here for ROX Orcas.
Yeah, they went really deep there. When you don't get the mega picks with the Doomfist, they wanted to kill Recry. They didn't want to kill IDK. It's a nice pick regardless. But if you kill Recry, then suddenly the Pharmacy that's literally just hovering there becomes a lot more difficult to deal with. And obviously, she was knocked out of the sky there last, but couldn't get into proper position because Recry was there, because he healed himself up. Ult advantage definitely on the side of the Freecs now, and you know, it's definitely going to be tough, but we'll see if they can get the pick they were looking for this time.
Oh, ArHaN will get taken down from behind. Legend is giving him that rocket punch to the rear. Will take him out and finds another one as IDK goes down. So that's 3 openings here for the side of ROX Orcas. Will be on the point, will get that second tick, and likely just finish the cap.
Yeah, they have a res available now, and they
got the nano boost. They're going to try to contest this.
Yeah, they are going to contest this. It's going to be with Brek. He doesn't actually have his ultimate just yet, but still doing a lot of damage here. Needs the heals.
He also just doesn't have that many targets. Meteor Strike will take Legend out to safety. Just had to use that one to keep himself alive and in the fight. Now jumping forward. Nice seismic slam onto multiple members. Forces out that biotic grenade, but Afreeca Freecs Blue, they are able to win the fight in the long run. It would seem as Krong rejoins on the low ground, gets taken out immediately, but the cap was there. So it's still 4 minutes, 18 seconds here for ROX Orcas on the streets phase.
And Kalios, that's the thing that leaves the worst kind of taste in your mouth is when you use so many ultimates to contest, you fly in there, you win the fight, but you don't prevent the capture. Seems like there's a lot of that going on here in Season 4 on this map in particular.
That was basically a similar situation to what we saw 2 days ago, Meta Athena versus RunAway.
Yep.
4K on the Doomfist, and then all of a sudden, oh wait, they still got point A. So it happens yet again here today.
You could talk about it was a really good contest, but it doesn't matter if they still get the cap at the end of the day. And now Krong, totally uncontested here. Where's Recry?
Great shots coming through from him. Finds the body hits. Aid will be able to res try, bring them back in, but Krong will fall swiftly thereafter. Able to follow up and get rid of Brek, who, again, is not looking the most comfortable on the Winston. This is a guy who, oh my god, the double kill coming through, making a triple legend. The rising uppercut gets rid of ArHaN. He finds Recry and then just rocket punches his way to another one.
Very comfortable Doomfist play here on this map, and he's built up another Meteor Strike. Looks like he wants to flank the DPSs yet again. And if he can get the kills, it means Kron can stay on that Pharah even longer. So Kalios is going to switch into now the Zarya. We are going to see the more Phalanx-esque defense, as it was not working without it. But I like the idea here, what they're using with Legend. Can he get the pick? He's going to jump in from the back.
Looking for something. Knows that defense matrix is about ready to go, and now it's going to be the Transcendence coming down, so wants to hold the pulse bomb at least for the end of this one. Throws it down, but straight into the defense matrix there. Geguri completely ready to go on that. Afreeca Freecs Blue will use the sound barrier. Meteor Strike here from Legend. Not going to be finding any kills. Takes himself out to safety as they come up with multiples and bring back everybody that they lost with that res. Krong and Try now rejoining the fight, are able to follow up for more kills. Legend will get another onto IDK, and that's going to be the completion onto point B with just about 4 minutes remaining.
Legend is building really consistent Meteor Strikes. He's also killing the backline. He's going to go to the spawn room to switch now to this Reinhardt. We see this so much to finish points. Really start getting popular in the World Cup qualifiers, and now it's permeating through Apex, and on this third point through the Foundry, you make this swap. They're actually going to run Krong, not on the Tracer though, but actually on that EMP, or sorry, on the Sombra to get the EMP. A bit interesting variation on the comp, to say the least.
Trying to change things up quite a bit, and Legend's not going to be on the Doomfist either. He's over onto this Reinhardt, firing away. We'll see who can build up for this Graviton Surge. Kalios does have the lead, had that early start on it. Geguri's already back to about 30%. See how rapidly she can get that for herself. Krong over to the high ground, not going to be getting too much harassed down with his Mach 10, so he'll have to jump in, maybe try to find a flank position.
Yeah, it's tough to farm health packs in this exact position on the final phase here, so needs to do damage to get that EMP, but there's a lot to combo with it.
Oh, he's looking for it, throws it down, finds multiple members as that nano boost comes through, and able to scoop up the kills. Geguri falling off the map. Krong go ahead and jump.
He did it off that jump, that Zarya tech where you can just grenade your shoes, and he flew up there, so he got the extra height. Let's watch this again. Watch how he does this. Jumps up over the Reinhardt shield. Absolutely necessary to use that trick to actually make that happen. Something that if you are a Zarya main in solo queue should absolutely learn. Kind of also help you reach new heights, reach new places that you can't with a standard jump, but really well executed here, and it's going to halt the cart for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest investment for them. They still have something like the Earth Shatter here from Brek. Needs to have a better one and not just throw it straight into the shield of Legend, so we'll see how he fares in that regard. For now, the Nano Boost is going to come through, and he's going to find the Earth Shatter. Legend locking up really just the enemy Reinhardt. They do get rid of Brek, but now the payload is moving at a rather swift pace, getting closer and closer to this completion, and they still have about 2 minutes on the clock. Recry will pop that tac visor at distance just to try to zone them back.
Yeah, very much a zoning tac visor there, but very expensive investment. Brek died before he could use the Earth Shatter. He still holds it. ArHaN's now swapped again off the Reaper. He's back onto this Hanzo he's been doing so well at, and it's very difficult to kill the Hanzo, especially with low DPS coming out of the mag, you said, on the side of the Sombra. When you have the Zarya shields there, you have Brek protecting you. I like this approach, though. This is one way to, if you get a good
I
angle.
don't like it when that happens. ArHaN just finds the shot instantly onto Striker, shutting down the Widowmaker.
1v1 me.
Oh, dear.
Okay, let's see if Kalios can have another incredible Graviton Surge, this time potentially from the high ground. I don't think the Orcas know he's here.
He would like to throw it rather soon because his energy is dwindling at the moment.
Here he
comes.
comes.
Don't see him. He's leaping in from behind. Nano Boost coming down. Only catches a couple members, but the Dragon Strike is also there, and ArHaN will go ahead and pick up the double kill. And now Orcas are completely cut off. The heal deny from the Biotic Grenade coming down, and Geguri will get popped, and as does Aid.
Somewhat egregious, too, for the Orcas is that Krong used the EMP in panic there, but of course the fight was already lost. Now they don't have an EMP that could have been paired with the follow-up Earth Shatter to get the completion, and things look disastrous now for the Orcas with those wasted, and this setup doesn't feel like a strong one anymore. Even though they have the Earth Shatter, what's going to be with it is questionable now.
I mean, look at this rollback that has come through onto the payload, already shifting back around the corner. They have to create so much new distance here, the ROX Orcas, and they only have the two ultimates to try to make this one work. It seems like they don't know what to do. The Earth Shatter comes through, makes it around the shield, but still doesn't really hit anybody, and now Brek just go ahead and use his own if he can find the angle. Sleep Dart will come down. They're zoned back. They have to get to the payload.
They need to get on it here. Recry is going to use the Attack Visor yet again for zoning. I don't think there's any way they get on this. Just a brief contest now.
Yeah, it was just Krong dashing in. Was able to get the tag, but now it's going to be a massive Graviton Surge. Earth Shatter ready to go from Brek as soon as he gets on hack, but might not even need to use it because he is just swinging his way to victory. There we go. Gets the lockup, finds the kill in onto Striker. Krong all on his lonesome. Can't even get on the payload because of the other Dragon Strike. He'll kill Try, who I believe might have been leaving the spawn. And that will be King's Row going over to the Afreeca Freecs, now 2-0 at match point in this best of 5.
Well, Kalios, we thought we were going to see some Zarya. We knew the comfort map pick came up for the Orcas, but it was Kalios who impressed, who had the flying Graviton Surges either by rocket jump or by high ground. There was no one to scout for him. Mistakes on the side of Orcas with respawn timers. I feel like the one who had the most impressive run for the Orcas was actually Try. He had several really good sleep darts on Brek when he was trying to get the Earth Shatters, but unfortunately, Geguri doesn't get to shine on the hero she's so famous for, is outshined by Kalios in his debut match here. And already another new scary Zarya player in this new meta with the buffs to the Graviton Surge. And ArHaN really showing off that Hanzo play as well. Good accuracy. I think for the Freecs, they're having a lot of fun in this first best of 5. For them for Season 4?
I mean, it definitely seems like they're having a blast with this one. And the problem with ROX Orcas is that it just seems like they don't know what to do. They don't know what to bring out to get around what Afreeca Freecs is assembling here, because we saw multiple swaps. Striker moving over to the Reaper at the end. Geguri moving back off the Zarya, back onto the Diva. Moving Legend from the Doomfist. It was a bit of a cluster there for them. We'll see if they can regroup and pick up a win when we come back from the break. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in just a few minutes to see if ROX Orcas can make this a series or if it will be a 3-0 stomp by the Afreeca Freecs.
에너지가 필요한 순간 핫6와 함께 핫하게 즐겨라. 올여름 가장 핫한 리그 오버워치 핫6 에이펙스.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're at match point between Afreeca Freecs Blue and the ROX Orcas. New team debuting here on the Apex stage. We've been playing in Challenger for a while, but you know, maybe you have the nerves, the jitters here, performing in such a large audience that is affecting their performance. Because honestly, they looked a bit competitive at the start of Nepal on Shrine, then here on King's Row on their attack. The first 2 points looked quite good from them. Even their defense
it just felt like
pretty strong.
Kalios stole the show, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we saw amazing Graviton surges. He made Geguri's life hell with his microwave full energy burnouts of the D.Va, knocking her out of the mech, making it difficult to even block that Graviton surge. But it was really, you know, just get around the Reinhardt shield was the plan of attack for Kalios when he was, dropping those down. So let's see how this third map pans out here as we head into Assault. I feel like, you know, we thought we were going to see a lot of priority on Geguri Zarya, but she's still very comfortable to play the D.Va. And we'll see if they want to plan around just a more standard comp where they had more success with Krong on the Soldier, for example, that we saw on Control and at the first part of King's Row, or if they're going back into the Zarya, because I feel like the Soldier play has been quite nice. Horizon would be a good map for the Zarya, but it's going to be Volskaya. Interesting, given that Afreeca Freecs Blue have been very vocal that this is their favorite and by far best Assault map. So an interesting choice, to say the least, but the Afreeca Freecs are going to be very happy with this one.
I mean, it might be one of those situations where it's like, you know, we're not good enough at any other map to try to beat them because they do outskill us at the moment. You know, it's our first performance on stage, so we have to get past that. So maybe it's, all right, you know what? Volskaya is also our best, so let's just go ahead, pick that, and see if we can be competitive, if not take down the Afreeca Freecs here on this map. Because, I mean, that would be a bit of a statement and would instill quite a bit of confidence into the ROX Orcas if they could do so. But, like you said, it just kind of seems like they're picking themselves into the end of the series.
Yeah, it feels that way, but they've got to give it one last shot here, Kalios. There's so many games shown from the Afreeca Freecs on this map, so perhaps they have a counter strategy prepared. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, we'll see what they've got for us. See See if they're going to show anything new, because they've already been flipping around to a couple different picks. So let's see what happens as we move over onto Volskaya for potentially our last map of this first series of the day.
I get it.
All right, here we are on Snowy Volskaya with the Freecs Blue starting things off. On the defense, ROX Orcas will be on attack. We'll see what they're going to piece together. At the moment, we see Krong hovering over that Sombra, but honestly, I don't want to see it.
I don't think it's been the best. He did have that one moment off screen where he got 3 backline pickoffs, which was pretty impressive. But beyond that, I was not sold. I was much more sold, in fact, on his Pharah play. A very difficult map to pull that off on right now, especially when you know Recry is going to be on the Soldier no matter what you run. But as something to consider perhaps for their next series, not necessarily for this one, at least as we have our eyes on Volskaya. ArHaN's on his Sombra. You know, we had for a long time Lucid playing the hero, but ArHaN now the main DPS has actually been doing this. Is the new trend is not to use your secondary support anymore, but to use your Tracer player on the Sombra. And well, going to be a solid normal defense for the Freecs.
Yeah, but going to be a bit different here from the Orcas. His Try is going to be on the Soldier, with Krong on that Sombra and Striker on the Tracer. So triple DPS threat coming out from them as they go ahead and push around the right flank. Want to get the wrap around, so they have the high ground advantage here and can cut off the Afreeca Freecs. If they get a pick, makes it that much harder for them to rejoin their team.
Geguri just protecting there as they approach the high ground with the D.Va, not using a lot of the Matrix, in fact, so very efficient. And Recry knows his position is long for this world, is just going to try to sloop around, but already Legend is nearly dead here.
Yeah, had that Discord door bottom, goes dangerously low, as you can see on the screen, but will be getting popped back up. But again, it's only the one source of healing, and then the health packs that he can get from the hacks from Krong. But Kalios is just able to go ahead and scoop up 2 very easily, and the rest of the team is going to go ahead and bail off the map where they can to go ahead and just themselves back to safety. Legend does have that leap.
Very quick respawns here for the Orcas too, not getting staggered this time, just immediately realizing, okay, hey, we got to get back and set up for the next push. When you're trying to go toe-to-toe as a flex soldier player versus one of the best soldiers in Korea, you're going to have a bad time. I think killing Recry is going to require a coordinated dive with Legend on the attack, getting onto that high ground, and so far they've been unsuccessful, as they're going to look for it one more time here, at least taking the staircase to go around.
Krong moving out with the invisibility, just trying to scout positions of the members here of Freecs Blue. Recry has already repositioned all the way across the other side of the point.
Okay, here's the attempt to get him. Unfortunately, failed again, and now this means the high ground is still going to remain in control for the Freecs.
Now they try to get a couple kills. They are able to get rid of IDK and Lucid. Now Recry does go down to Striker, scoops up the kill, finds the second one in onto Brek. That's 4 members dead, with IDK just now respawning. ArHaN trying to delay here, will snap back, and that might just be the point. At least several ticks going over to the side of ROX Orcas.
Kalios
will be tossed out. They want to try to delay this one. Kalios will make it back into the mech in time, but it's going to get popped very swiftly thereafter as ArHaN keeps delaying.
I don't think they see him. Okay, it looks like he is spotted there by A. Do they have a way to use this EMP, though, is the big question. Already the Transcendence has been used.
EMP comes down, Tac Visor was popped, but the sound barrier is there from the side of the ROX Orcas to go ahead and try to mitigate the damage, and Try, with his own Tac Visor, picks up 2. And that will be the point, just with a little bit of a delay coming
this
through.
was very risky for the Freecs, and now we could see an attempted double cap here because the tick was so heavy. They instantly get the kills, the staggered respawns coming over, and they're heading across the map. The Freecs, it was a very heroic attempt to hold, using the self-destruct to try to buy time to have an amazing EMP, but so many tools wasted. This is a great opportunity now for the Orcas to get that coveted double cap.
I mean, what looked heroic is now foolish. Onto the point goes the ROX Orcas, already get the pick in onto Lucid. Self-destruct didn't find anybody, but it was enough to zone them back. ArHaN getting jumped on, will be taken down by Striker before he could use the EMP to try to turn the tides of this battle. Striker yet again wreaking havoc. We'll see Brek popping the Primal Rage, just trying to smack them all away where he can. Almost had Aid locked up into the corner, but he was able to make his way out with the move speed. And now Brek is isolated and has to bail out.
Okay, here comes ArHaN's EMP. It does end up killing off the other Sombra there. Actually, barely survives, yeah.
Comes up with the kills onto both the tanks, getting Geguri out of that mech and following up very swiftly onto Legend. And ArHaN is just going to go ahead and pick up all of these. Finds Krong, finds the Baby Diva in the end. And they get the hold, but that's 2 ticks going over to the Orcas with 4.5 minutes remaining. And now Legend, here we go. This is what I want to see, is back over onto the Doomfist.
So this is such a weird thing to see with the solo tank diva, with the Doomfist here, with how the Orcas playstyle has always been around Legend's Winston, but the dive defense has been so good for the Freecs consistently when they're trying to go and kill Recry that I like the swap a lot more. It's going to be the EMP to start the engage. Looking for an angle here, already expected though by the Freecs.
For ArHaN, almost has the kill, takes him dangerously low. ArHaN will be able to snap back, and it just gives him that much more ult percentage as he has that health pack that he can rely on. So now he's up to 70% yet again, and Aid will go down. Has the sound barrier, and that's likely going to be the ROX Orcas having to hightail it out of here, especially as Tri falls as well. So yes, they will all just go ahead, pile off the map, just go ahead and try to reset. And just like that, Legend is already swapping off the Doomfist. Barely gave it a chance.
Yeah, that's, I mean, we talked about already how he was the star of the team and he was the one who made the dive play work really well. And when you have a rocky first attempt like that, you really have to wonder, should we just go back to what we're used to what we know? And that's what they're going to roll with here. The Freecs, again, holding on to basically all of their ultimates. I think it's going to take at least 2 pushes to secure this final tick for the Orcas, because they're going to have to use 1 to at least try to bait out some of the ultimates. ArHaN especially has that EMP. Good angle here, gets the double.
It drops it down straight in onto the tank. Sound barrier will come out for the ROX Orcas, but they already lose out onto Striker. The self-destruct kills Krong as well. Now Geguri popped out of the mech. This is just going to be another failed push. They still have 3 minutes just about here on the clock, but it seems like Afreeca Freecs Blue have found their ground to stand on.
As I was saying, though, it's going to take more than 1 push. This one at least got them the self-destruct, got the EMP. The next one, they could use Geguri's self-destruct with an EMP to try to engage. All they have to do is coordinate 1 time to get the final tick, because they did get that great double push earlier, did get the double tick from that failed defense from the Freecs. But this is a good opportunity now. They still have 2 minutes and 20.
But they lose Tri, so that's just more time bought by ArHaN by himself. And he's just sitting here just farming up.
EMP.
Yep. Percentage after percentage every time he takes one of those. 61% ready to go. I mean, ROX Orcas, if they all in on this push, if they don't get it, that's probably going to be it.
Yeah, that's probably going to be it. And Legend doesn't have the Primal Rage because he, you know, as a Winston player, you can't really just poke to build charge. You have to have a heavy dive. And with the committal to killing Tri and his death there, he couldn't build any up. So he's been so long away from this with the late swap. It's going to be the EMP to start the engage here. They want to use self-destruct.
Well, they're holding on to it now. For now, the hack comes through. They will pop Kalios out of the mech, so that's going to be a nice start here. The Transcendence will come down from the side of Lucid, so they have to survive for a bit longer. This will be answered by Tri, trying to keep everybody topped up, but Striker has already gone down. Now the EMP dropped. The sound barrier is there from the side of the Afreeca Freecs Blue. They keep themselves in the fight.
Well, this is exactly the fight they wanted. They had the zoning. They got the advantage there from the self-destruct.
Still just not looking great here for ROX Orcas. At the time it gets drained out. Legend with the Primal Rage picks up 1 onto Recry. Now looking for Kalios, who rejoins the fight full HP, and ArHaN is pushing back in, looking for a hack onto Legend, but doesn't even need it. Can just spray into his backside with that gun, and we'll just go ahead and take him down. Now has the hack on the big health pack, and it seems like this might just be a hold on point B for Afreeca Freecs Blue. 91.3% was accrued by the ROX Orcas, so Afreeca Freecs Blue on their attack basically have to get the double cap for themselves to win the game.
And when you see a Widow swap like this, you have to feel like it's real desperation. They're just trying to get some lucky snipes here to get the kills, but I don't think it's going to work at Kalios. I mean, this is certainly an opportunity, sure, but a direct engage is going to be difficult against the EMP, against Recry on the high ground who's got tack visors, but I mean, they're really just grasping at straws at this point. The engage was really well coordinated there with Geguri's self-destruct, but the Afreeca Freecs just had the better defense with the sound barrier from IDK on the high ground. And I guess you just got one last chance, one more shot, Kalios. Let's see what they can make of it.
All right, well, they're going to try to open up something. ArHaN throws down the EMP, immediately jumps out to safety to keep himself alive, and Geguri has been popped out of the mech and will go down in the Baby Diva form. Sound barrier yet again, just too late from the side of Aid to keep everybody alive. He and Striker, really the only 2 recipients of it, as Tri gets leapt on by Brek. He gets taken out, and that should just about be it. Aid is trying his best to delay, but with a Discord Orb on him, he is just such a prime target. He gets taken down, and Afreeca Freecs Blue will be holding on to point B. But again, 91.3% accrued for ROX Orcas. So they have to one-up that at least. So they basically have to get the second cap.
I think the idea with the self-destruct push there was pretty reasonable, to be honest. Knowing that they already had 2 ticks, they came in with the idea of, let's try to set up for the EMP into the self-destruct. Couldn't happen there. Kwong wasn't in a good enough position, but they used the, they baited out because it looked like he was going to EMP, baited out the Transcend. So, okay, that's down. Self-destruct comes in right as it finishes. And they traded up pretty well. They couldn't get the finishing picks, though, because IDK's sound barrier was so good. But this makes me happy. It makes me feel like the Orcas here chose the map. They had really good plans, really good coordination as to how to use it. When Freecs messed up the contest, they punished them hard. I think this last set that we just saw, that last round, was the most coordinated the Orcas have looked in this best of 5 so far. It wasn't good enough, unfortunately, but you can see the plan is there. The strategy and the coordination is there. It's unfortunately not good enough, perhaps mechanically, but the plans are correct.
I agree with you to a point. I think that they kind of lost it at the end when the clock was running down. You know, they didn't have much. Try swapping over to the Widowmaker. That's when it seems like they just don't know what to do. That kind of goes back to what we saw from them on King's Row, where they just kind of scrambled and they weren't sure what they should go for. So they just start attempting these different picks in hopes that it works. So it becomes a little bit of desperation. But leading up to that, I do agree with you. It seemed like they had a pretty good game plan. It was unfortunate that they couldn't get the cap. But again, 91.3% is a very good percentage to have for not completing the map.
Yeah, the map is not, it's not over by any means, sure. But
they very well could still win this.
Yeah, they could still win it. I just, you know, I feel like we saw the best round from them up into, of course, the Widowmaker swap. We saw for just a moment the Kalios Orisa. We saw quad tank from EnVyUs on this map with that, but it's not going to happen here. And it is going to be the standard triple DPS defense for ROX Orcas. Not always standard, but I mean, this variation is the one that you use with Try on the Soldier yet again.
I pushed that comp out of my mind. I didn't need to be reminded about the Envy play here at the end of the season in Season 3. Try finds a nice opening pick onto ArHaN. And Afreeca will just go ahead and slow down the pace of this attack. Go back into the side room here with the help back. Just keep themselves away from the sight lines of the ROX Orcas, not give them any poke in.
So Brek is the guy who's going to try to get the pick onto either Aid or Try, who have been doing this high ground defense, as you can see here. That's the idea with the Winston sneak around. You've got heavy dive on the side of the Freecs, the old Genji Soldier. And if they kill him, they take the point. That's basically the objective. He's already very low here. RunAway can't push the issue further with Geguri in good position.
He's got a nice jump in right into the back of Krong. Almost takes him down. Geguri as well falling low. Will get popped into the mech, but Try has a very nice Helix rocket connection there onto the Genji. Gets rid of him as Kalios gets popped out of his own mech. Some of the Divas going to be in the pilot form at the moment.
You know, I'm getting Luffy vibes here from Try. He's a very good soldier player, clearly, and they're building comps around him because he has the flexibility to have good accuracy. And when we see the triple DPS defense here.
It's pretty good. Yet again, another Helix rocket connection, getting rid of Brek. And Freecs Blue are just getting picked off one after the other, and this is just delaying them, slowing them up, and not allowing them to get anything onto the point. It's 2 minutes, 20 seconds remaining.
Yeah, we talked about it was a problem they didn't get the completion, but they had good percentage. But if this continues for much longer, perhaps the Freecs don't even grab that first point. The defense has been solid. Try's been repositioning himself several times, always protected by Geguri as well.
EMP coming down there from Krong. They're going to go ahead and pile in Lucid. The Transcendence trying to keep everybody topped off. They've already lost Brek, however, and Kalios is out of the mech, so they basically don't have any tanks, and ArHaN has fallen. Now Recry dropping down on the lower ground with attack visor, finds 2 kills, but gets taken down. Try has the kills and still holds on to his own attack visor, so they're still on this defense as the first tick has not come through. Try will be leaping down as well, but he's got Kalios all up in his face. So we'll have to kite back to keep himself alive, but there's no first hit coming through for the Afreeca Freecs.
I mean, Try has shown us some great soldier today. I really liked everything until he popped the attack visor. That was pretty unrealistic that they were going to be able to flip the point after those staggered deaths came in, but still going to be impressed with them. Built the attack visor up the same, but they burned through a lot of the time of the Orcas with this, or sorry, of the Freecs. And actually, they're going to go for one last contest.
Yeah, they want to go all in on this one. The sound barrier coming down, catching most of the members on the team, but ArHaN has a Dragon Blade out, and he's looking for Aid, but the poop away will stop him, and now he has to resheath the blade. Self-destruct tossed up into the air, will find the pick in onto Recry, and Orcas Can they do it? It's a minute remaining, almost half the cap. Do the Afreeca Freecs zoning on that ultimate there from Kalios, tries to push them back, but they make it back in onto the point. They keep this one in contention, but he found the pick in onto Legend. 8 goes down, Try is able to knock Kalios out of the mech, but they are just losing the fight. That's going to be the majority of them falling. And ROX Orcas will now have to go ahead and pick up the defense on point B. 4 minutes, 38 seconds remaining.
Kalios running in here in pilot form to try to scout out the defenses here. We'll look to remech, a risky proposition, but I think he'll probably be safe enough with the staggered response coming in now for the Orcas. But that was a really nice hold. It bought them a lot of time, forced the Freecs to actually use some ultimates there. Surprising one to say the least, but still very well done. Kalios will get the remech here. Very rare scenario in Overwatch to see a competitive pilot become the mech.
Yeah, no kidding. Makes his way back in there. We'll see Krong leaping forward, throws down the EMP, and ROX Orcas want to take the fight. They already get rid of Lucid, so it's a good start. Just for the one ultimate investment there, but ArHaN able to go ahead and answer for one onto Try, and now you can see Afreeca Freecs are starting to push forward, closer and closer to the point. Dragon Blade is available yet again, but ArHaN dangerously low has to go ahead and sit back safely.
Sound barrier here actually does not connect
draws
with
it out, but he's going to go down, but it was just way too soon. He still does have the ultimate. The animation did not complete. Now Recry up in the face of Legend will get taken down from the back by the Helix Rockets. It seems like ROX Orcas might just be able to win this one out. Try going down as Brek did invest the Primal Rage. The rest of the team is backing out, so a bit of miscommunication perhaps.
The roughest part is that they lost the sound barrier for this. ArHaN was just out of range of it, so he didn't get that. Had he gotten it, he would have had that Dragon Blade gone off, and then would have been a totally different story. Try was picked off first, and Geguri wasn't in the greatest position, so that was when they saw blood in the water. They committed to the fight, but after they knew they were losing it, they held on to the Transcendence. The Dragon Blade, as you said, because he died in animation, is still available, so the next push here is certainly still a strong one, but the Orcas have ult advantage.
Yeah. I mean, that was a similar situation to what we saw in the grand final. You know, J-Hum so good that he allowed the enemy Genji to still have the Dragon Blade. ArHaN having his because he played poorly. Now draws it out again, finds the kill in on to Try. Doesn't get much more than that. And as they go ahead and they push forward with that Transcendence, Recry taking out Geguri in the pilot form. With that tack, Pfizer opens up another pick, but losing out onto IDK could be very detrimental to the side of Afreeca Freecs Blue. Just have to rely on Lucid alone.
So scary
for
that
the heals, but he gets taken down.
Recry's in such good position here. You should never be allowed to have this position as a soldier. Finally, he will be taken out here as Kalios is removed. He doesn't have the protection anymore. But that was a very scary moment there where Recry's up on the high ground and was just basically shooting fish in a barrel. Good defense. Again, Geguri the hero comes over. The dive comes around as well with Legend, and he is taken out after Kalios was demech there. But time is burning. I mean, the Orcas have a very nice advantage now.
There's no percentage gain here for the Afreeca Freecs Blue. Not even a single tick after all of that. They have no ultimates available anymore. And they have to go to 91.4%. A couple kills do get picked up as Striker and Krong to fall. Recry and Lucid coming up with those. ArHaN has been taken out. Legend leaping back, keeps himself alive, has that health pack to just go ahead and keep contributing over to Krong's EMPs. Has one ready to go.
Yeah, the
as
EMP
Recry tries to kite back. That's going to be the Primal Rage invested by Legend. As the EMP gets dropped in, they're looking for the kills, and Recry will fall as Striker scoops it up. Krong able to keep himself alive, gets the health back yet again, gets the rehack, and it seems like Orcas will be holding on for a bit longer. Nearly one tick accrued.
I think this Dragon Blade is going to have to be it, or it's going to be the first win on the board for Orcas. Lucid has the Transcends, but no sound barrier, so only one support ultimate. No self-destruct to buy time. The Orcas did use the EMP, but Krong's already got another one set up here. Tries in good position. He's going to have attack Pfizer. So this push is really going to be do or die time now for the Freecs, and ArHaN switches onto the Tracer.
Yeah, again, yeah, exactly. He swapped over onto the Tracer, so now he needs the Pulse Bomb, which is going to be so much harder to have a game-breaking Pulse Bomb without the likes of a Zarya, or something that will keep the enemy clumped up together. So he's not going to be able to have nearly as much potential impact as he would with that Dragon Blade.
And with Geguri pocketing Try so hard here, it's very difficult to find these. Here comes the attack Pfizer, though, with the Transcendence.
He gets rid of one, even though the sound barrier had come down and the defense matrix was there. Set the Pulse Bomb, gets rid of Legend. Now Geguri knocked out of the mech. ArHaN able to follow up, gets the kill onto the Baby Diva form, and that's going to be the first tick picked up now for the side of the Afreeca Freecs Blue. Looking for a lot more than that. However, they still need to advance by over 40% if they want to close out Volskaya and close out this series. Respawn's getting ready to come in. Krong leaping through, has that EMP ready to go. Pulse Bomb down onto Kalios, will pop him out of the mech as Try follows up with the extra damage onto that mech. Geguri throwing down the self-destruct, trying to zone them out as we enter into overtime. It's 65%. They need over 91 if they want to win this one. Legend goes down, as does Striker. Geguri yet again demeched by the Afreeca Freecs. Now Sound Barrier coming through aid, desperately trying to dash around and keep himself in the fight, but he gets taken down, and that might just be
looks like
enough.
it is.
They're ticking upward. Last second contest from Striker, has to get the recall. Now the leap in from Legend, but the Discord Orb comes through. He immediately gets taken down, and a war of attrition is finally won by the Afreeca Freecs. They close this out 3-0, but ROX Orcas, one of the teams coming into this tournament, not having the best record in Challenger, put up one hell of a fight on Volskaya.
They certainly did. I think that was their best map by far. The problem in that last fight for them was once the EMP was done, and the timing there of the self-destruct wasn't perfect for overtime, they got out-sustained. Remember, they were doing this with the triple DPS with Try on the Soldier, and the Soldier of Recry was never bursted down, was never killed. He was healing himself up as well with the double support he had. Obviously, the biotic field to keep himself alive. They won the longer sustained fight there. And, I mean, there was some really good concepts for the Orcas. And I feel like you could see that they're trying to build their defense around Try. That's why I say it gives me Luffy vibes, looking at Panthera for how they use the Soldier with their triple DPS comps. Try looked very accurate. He was very well positioned. Geguri gave him a lot of protection. The attack strategies we saw there with the Sombra into the self-destructs, the punishing of Afreeca Freecs overextension there on point A was really well done. And even though they lose the series with an 0-3, they get a loud cheer from the crowd here as we close out the night, because this team definitely performed better, I think, than many would have expected.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they played, I'd say, probably better than Meta Athena was playing 2 days ago.
Yeah, I would actually say I would go that far myself.
They put up a pretty good fight here, and that's good to see because they do have a very tough group that they have to get through if they want to advance into the round of 8. So as this being their debut, I think that they can feel overall pretty good about the loss despite not picking up a map. They have to get through the likes of LW Red and GC Busan if they want to advance. Both of those two were former Challenger teams, so they're used to playing against them. So Afreeca Freecs Blue was the team that they weren't sure what was going to happen. When it comes down to playing those other Challenger teams that have just qualified in for Apex, they should know the ins and outs of them and then can improve from there, build their strategies against them.
And I think that one of the big questions we had too for today was, will they get nervous? Will they play weaker when momentum shifts against them? And I think the answer was not resounding, but it was a no. I feel like the smiles on the faces of the players we see as they pack up their gear here shows us that they at least met their own expectations for the match. They did not leave disappointed with a bad taste in their mouths, feeling crushed or dejected. They just lost 0-3 to a semifinalist team, the third place team for Season 3, and they looked good while doing it. And there were some times where we saw some disjointed team fights, some weird respawns, but the play we saw on Volskaya looked according to practice. It looked coordinated. And as you say, with the group they're in, they still have a very decent chance to move on to the round of 8.
Yeah, so definitely a team that we're going to be keeping our eyes on as we move forward in the tournament. For now, we're going to go to a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have our second set of the night, Flash Flux versus NC Foxes, so don't go anywhere.
Coming up next, Flash Box, NC Boxes.
언제 어디서나 깔끔하고 상쾌하게.
이런 게 트래비 스타일.
Stylish sparkling water, 트레비.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for our second best of 5 of the night. This one's going to be FlashLux going up against another one of our new teams, NC Foxes, coming out of Challenger. And they were one of the more dominant teams in the Challenger bracket. Only losses that they suffered were at the hands of GC Busan and LW Red, two of the other teams that have joined us here in Apex Season 4.
Yeah.
But how will they fare against the relegation kings that are FlashLux?
Well, there's no relegation tournament anymore, so in a way, FlashLux faces some similar promotion tournament-esque opponents here. Is if there was a promotion tournament, they'd be in it, that's for sure. And of course, they'd be facing off against the Foxes very likely in said tournament. This is one of the easier opponents that FlashLux has had in group stages. I feel like if you can't beat the best of the challengers here, then, you know, it's a really rough time. I mean, we're talking about a team that has struggled in every season. They've been in all 3 seasons of Apex, now the 4th, to get out of the group stage. So they've got some strong individual talent. Fleta, of course, the player that comes to mind more than anybody else. Vale, decent on the Tracer, we've seen in the past. But the team coordination has always been shut down by other stronger teams. They never necessarily have easy groups. I feel like this is the best chance they've had since Season 1.
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, but we have to see how they're going to prove themselves against NC Foxes, because if they don't pick up the victory here, then I think that their hopes really start rapidly dwindling. Because obviously, you take a look at Group B, Kongdoo, Panthera, going to be the favorites to make it out in that first seed. Then you have Kongdoo, Uncia as well, who suffered a loss but didn't look completely awful, I suppose, as opposed to Season 3 where it just really seemed like they piled everything into Panthera and kind of abandoned Uncia. But if NC Foxes can show up with a victory against FlashLux, then suddenly they might become the favorite to be that second spot to make it out of Group B into the round of 8. So FlashLux needs to show up right here, right now, if they want to inspire us with that thought, I guess, that they could actually make it into the round of 8 and not be in the bottom.
We don't know if Foxes or Uncia are the stronger team yet, but you would have to assume that either way, you know, if you can't beat the Foxes, you're going to have trouble against Uncia as well. Yeah. Defeating Panthera seems to be an impossibility for Flashlux, just if we speak reasonably. You know, the Flashlux are a team that often is built around their DPSs being Stars, Veil, getting the back line, Fleta, going over there with the Pharah play that he's so famous for, also very decent soldier as well. We'll see if they can shine tonight, but I think, to be honest with you, Kalios, based on what I've seen of the Foxes and Challengers, I would actually say that it's not actually them that are the underdogs. I think it's Flashlux that I would put as the underdogs in this best of 5.
I mean, we got really excited for the likes of Fleta and Veil after the last promotion tournament that they played in. They were very good. They helped Flashlux requalify yet again for Apex, so it was the 3rd season in a row for them, now 4th. But then when it came down to the actual season itself, they did not perform. It wasn't just Fleta and Veil against the world. It was actually Fleta and Veil sort of crumbling under the pressure in their games, so it's not like they were even standing out and the rest of the team was playing poorly around them. Overall, the entire unit of Flashlux was just suffering heavily in their matches. So we need to see if they can bounce back from that, if they can go back to that level of performance that we saw from them during that last promotion tournament. And like you said before, this kind of feels like one since they're going up against the NC Foxes. So maybe that'll be enough to go ahead and draw that power out of them. Let's see what happens as we go ahead and meet the players.
Overwatch Apex Season 4, energized by HOT6. Round Robin. Today's matchup, Flashlux, NC Foxes.
There you go, Flashlux and NC Foxes taken to the stage. First time for NC Foxes, and it's the first time in a while for Flashlux. Have not seen these guys, but have undergone some changes. To recognize some familiar faces. And names as well on that roster. Oberon, new tank player. Actually, Tarpon from BK Stars had a name swap after BK Stars kind of dissipated as an organization. The players scattered to the wind. He came over, joined Flashlux, and Coma as well, joining in formerly of RunAway.
And another interesting story is Ikino and Hyuk are 2 former Flashlux players, so they're actually going to be potentially in this series defeating former teammates here. So exciting to see how that shakes up, as there's always extra emotions. As we talked about the Ty Dolla story earlier, he didn't end up getting subbed in, as it was a very clean sweep for the Afreeca Freecs Blue. But it's always weird to play against your former teammates in a high-stakes match like this one. We'll head into it, though, and see if they can make a better story than they have in their history, though. I'm talking about Flashlux, 3-8 in Season 1. Season 2, 1-9. And in Season 3, they didn't take a single map. They went out in 4th place of their group, 0-9. You know, there's only up from here when you talk about Flashlux. And unfortunately for Flashlux fans, the identity for Flashlux is the team that you hope you're in the same group as in the round of 16 to pick up the points. I mean, we're talking about a record of 4-26 career Apex. They make it into the tournament every single time, but it's the last stop on the list for them because they just can't break through that barrier, get out of the group, or really even take a series.
Yeah, I mean, the only victory that these guys have ever had in the history of Apex was versus Rhinos Gaming Titan. And even then, it was a 3-2 victory, so it went all the way to game number 5. And then the only other time they picked up a map was one map victory versus Fnatic when they were here during Season 2. So it is not a very good record for Flashlux, but perhaps with these newer additions to the roster, it could turn things around for them. They have a nice support in Coma and a decent tank in Tarpon joining in.
Yeah, this is a solid lineup for sure. I think that Coma will impress on the Lucio, and Fleta, again, here he is. He's the star DPS. Look for flashy plays on the Pharah, good soldier accuracy, and high chance we do see Vale bring out the Doomfist. He's always been so good at getting those backline picks on the Tracer, so you have to imagine he'll very likely be the Doomfist player for Flash Looks as we move into this.
Could very well be. Let's see what NC Foxes are going to be able to do. Again, very strong record in Challenger, so I'm expecting some pretty decent play from these guys, since Flash Lux might as well be a Challenger team.
Yeah, interesting to note is Rhea is listed as a tank player, and he's the one who sits in the captain's chair to the top. Normally that's reserved for Lucio, so we'll see exactly what they use here in terms of play. As Min-Soo is on the roster as well. He's sitting out, could be subbed in as flex support to come in to the roster. So we don't know exactly what comps they're going to run today, because what they saw in Challengers was on a different patch and a different meta. So I think today it's going to be a lot of feeling out for the Foxes, as it was for the Orcas early. We didn't know exactly what to expect, what we were going to see Geguri on every time, and it was not as often the Zarya, it was more the common diva, more than we expected.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that all the players aren't wearing sunglasses when their logo is a fox wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, what's up with that?
It doesn't match, it seems a bit disingenuous to me.
Well, we had the Alpha Predator, the Orca Whale, defeated earlier today. Will the Fox here be the successful animal of our Challenger team, Kalios? That's what we're here to find out.
Fortunately, we're not having a battle between a fox and an orca. I feel like that's a bit one-sided.
I think it depends on where the fight takes place.
That's true. Is it on land? Then maybe the fox wins.
If a fox is on like a small iceberg, like in the ocean, I don't know. Maybe it's like that's the evenest battleground you could get at. I don't know.
I don't know. This is some like Pokemon conversation we're getting ready to start.
Sorry, Kalios. You're casting with Wolf.
All right. I'm just surrounded by animals, it seems.
All right, Lijiang is going to be our control map here. So no massive preferences on either team, of course, in terms of control. I don't want to read out Flash Luck's win rates on any of the map types because, as you might imagine, they're pretty abysmal. But this is actually NC Fox's best map type of control, so looking to start things off with a bang.
You can just very easily assume that if it's a map, Flash Lucks have lost on it. Unless it's a newer map like Horizon Lunar Colony. then you never know. But if it's a map that's been in the pool for a while, it's a safe bet.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you that one. We'll see if they take us to Horizon, if we get to that third map and it's their map choice. Looks like, honestly, when you look at the Foxes, they look a little bit nervous, I have to say. Much more comfort in the booth for Flash Lux. This is their 4th time in this rodeo, in this studio, to play in Apex. They've never advanced, but they've sat in the chairs and played the game in front of the fans many a time.
All right, well, it's been a while since we've seen Flash Lux. Let's see how much they've improved since their end of run in Season 3 of Apex. And let's see what NC Foxes can offer us, one of the newer teams here into Apex Season 4. Let's dive onto our first map in this best of 5. It's Lijiang Tower.
I get it.
It's a good day of getting it.
Gonna get it.
All right, there we go. Got one right at the end. Newer team need to build up the fan base there for the Foxes. We'll see how it goes as this season progresses for these guys. Because if they start off with a win, very well could have those fans spilling over into their favor.
Sure. They definitely have the larger fan base here in the audience over Flash Lux right now, and Flash Lux is just going to have to stop disappointing Kalios. No other way to put it. Sashin will be starting here on the Pharah, but it's actually Fleta who sticks with the ground, and interestingly, Vale on Soldier with Fleta on the Tracer.
It's going to be his job to go ahead and try to get rid of Sassin here from this air position. He's going to be firing down, looking for a couple shots, and we're actually going to have a pause as the rocket connects. Kino seeming like he's got a bit of an issue.
Yeah, we'll hope that gets resolved soon. Obviously, when you're dealing with pharmacy comps, making sure that you have no issues whatsoever is of critical importance. We'll see if it's an audio issue. We had one of those earlier today. We'll get the graphic to confirm very shortly here. Pretty even battle. We don't really know exactly who is in the lead until the fight ends. I mean, it's about as even as you can get it, so we can't talk advantages, disadvantages here, but...
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing going on right now.
Here we
But it
go.
seems like there's also not an issue anymore, so we have that taken care of. So we will just go ahead and resume, see who is going to be taking the lead here. But Rhea is going to be the first one that goes down. And Echo as well will be killed off as he goes off the side of the map. So Fox is not going to have as strong of a start as they would have liked, so Flash Lux will go ahead and get this early advantage in that first cap.
Yep, will be the first cap very swiftly with those staggered spawns there. Not entirely sure what happened with the pause. Unfortunate for the Foxes, but they're going to dive right back in here, tossing Pumple into the fray.
Oh, what a name that is. Koma being quite elusive here. Sasson tries to lock him down with the rockets. In the meantime, Flooding getting Rhea out of that mech yet again. Sasson tries to push forward, but Vale just takes him right out of the sky, and it's just Flash Lux having these kills spilled over into their favor. They'll get rid of Pumple in midair, and we'll go ahead and maintain control over the point.
Getting those kills here at the end, going to make the next push a little bit further away, but Neko is nearly at the res angle here where he could use this to try to force a fight, which could give Sashin the rocket barrage he wants, but it's going to be Pumple yet again who dives in. The coordination on this dive, though, is certainly not even, I mean, who else was even with him? Like, this was definitely a pretty crazy jump in from him there. He built enough for the primal rage, so maybe it was an eco leap. Maybe we'll coin that phrase, but I mean, otherwise the coordination is certainly not there.
We are not starting eco leap. Eco leap is not going to be a thing. That is just a way to cover up bad play. Vale going to get jumped on, but the Transcendence comes out to keep him alive, and now has that tag visor looking for Sasson up in the air. Gets pushed to the side, booped over the wall. Just enough with an angle to go ahead and get that sight line. Sasson will be brought back to life by Neko with the res, and Vale going to get popped off as Foxes look for the retake, dropping down that sound barrier, trying to push in onto the point.
Really good ult usage here, and it looks like it is going to be enough to secure this point for now.
So knocked out of the mech will go down. Flip still has not happened here for the side of the Foxes. Oberon leaping back in, manages to stay alive with a sliver of HP.
I mean, that was, what, like 2 health?
Oh,
and
my lord.
He actually dealt with the barrage perfectly with that barrier, too, almost causing Sashin to kill himself there. They used everything, all they've got. Now they don't have anything more. They have to fight long enough to get another res, potentially, to get the flip here, but it looks all but over here for our first point.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb coming down, looking for the pop out there. Rhea will get knocked out of the mech, and Pumple is also very low. Fleta just dashing around, wreaking havoc, looks for the kill in on to the enemy Lucio. They'll be able to take him down with the help of Oberon in the end, but not before he dies. But still going to be overtime force here as the Foxes just cannot leave the point. Neko will just go ahead, bring back Hyuk with the res as Oberon falls, and this could be their window. Still do have Wiso on the side of Flash Lux to maintain the delay. But with Shu going down, seems like that might just be the flip.
I mean, they threw everything. They threw the kitchen sink at this push, and they forced it to work. 2 solo reses, but that was what really helped them win the first part of that battle. The second part, obviously bringing Hyuk back in for the extra sustain, means that they will have Pumple and Rhea nearly at ultimates here for the follow-up push from Flash Lux, but still a little bit worried again by the Winston play we've seen so far. Look at this angle, though.
Manages to get Shu, and that's just going to stop this wraparound from the side of Flash Lux. Sasson going low, has to take back up to the skies, but nearly has the barrage. Does he want to pop it? No, just goes ahead and gets rid of Koma. He's single-handedly gotten rid of both supports and knocked Wiso out of the mech.
I mean, you can't get much more value out of a Afreeca than that. I mean, perfect angles there. Wiso not absorbing the damage. Vale wasn't looking up. You would have to say, and they just simply did not expect that. So literally 1v6 from the sky, ruined a push, delayed the second, and he still holds on to, as you say, the rocket barrage. He didn't need it, because with the first pick, the push was already over. He's got it ready here, and he's going to take the same approach.
See if he can find the angle. So has to be worried about Wiso with that defense matrix. He's looking for the back angle, finds the shot in onto Oberon just before that Transcendence hits. Now dropping it down, defense matrix, a bit too late to save Vale's life, but Wiso will be able to charge through and get the kill, but it's still Foxes coming out on top, and they're going to have the ult advantage after all of this as well. Echo has the res available, not going to use it, as they are just still quite happy to hold on to this one, 75%.
They used Transcendence too. Flash Lux said they were looking for the big 6 push to try to capture this. Unfortunately, though, they just get caught at the gate. They still have this massive amount of ults, but as you say, self-destruct defensively, Pumple's got Primal and the res. It's going to be so tough to make this work. They lead, though, with the sound barrier.
Go jumping in there. So far, the ultimate's being held from the side of the Foxes. Rhea gonna get popped out of the mech, throws down that self-destruct just to try to find a kill. Gets one onto Veil of all people, and Shu will also be taken down by Hyuk. Self-destruct right in the entryway will claim Sasen's life and knock Rhea out of the mech, so this could be the window of opportunity here for Flashlux, who are just a second away, a fraction of a second away from getting the flip in overtime. But they need to get the Foxes off the point.
Veil has tag. He's not using it, though, even with the kill on the mech.
But Oberon is doing so much work here. 2 kills with the Primal Rage, but they need to get rid of that Lucio.
The res!
Gonna be jumping out. The res coming through. 4-man res coming down by Neko, just completely shutting out everything that Flashlux tried to do, but the answer back with 2 more swift kills. Now 3 Assassin goes down, only losing out onto Veil, and Rhea is out of the mech yet again. Kalma taking out that Diva, but they still do not have the flip. Pulse Bomb comes through, takes out Pumple, and that is just going to be it in the end. As they pick up the round, one hell of a fight. That res was absolutely massive, but just not enough.
I feel like the Neko-Sashin duo, it felt like I was watching them play. Forget everybody else. The low impact jump-ins, the dive was really weak at first, and obviously when you're not running the full dive comp with the Winston and you really only have the Diva that could go in with you with the comp they chose, it's realistically you're going to have a bad time when you dive in like that. But when they found the angle here, as we're going to see an amazing res, it's obviously not worth much at the end because even when you res, you're in bad position, everybody dies. But let's talk back about Sashin on the Pharah. He found the angles consistently to take Veil out, take Coma out of the fight, bought so much time. I think that's really the big takeaway for NC is we thought maybe Fleta was going to be the Pharaoh we were most impressed by in this Specify, but maybe expectations should be changed now.
Already, just going to be a bit of a fight here straight up onto the control point. It's an all-out brawl as they try to knock Weezo out of the mech. Will be able to do so, and will be the first one going down. Rhea almost being answered for, but does get healed back up and maintain that mech for himself, and might just be the first cap here for the side of the Foxes as Flashlux tries to regroup.
It's going to be the same exact composition for Flashlux as they ran on our previous map. So as we move into control tower here, no changes whatsoever, but it's the Sombra and Genji duo here for the Foxes. The same Neko and Genji, the same Neko and Sashin that did so much for them on the previous point. Yet again, they are the ones who are carrying these fights.
Yeah, very swift EMP there for Neko. Just transitions into multiple kills for there. On to Flashlux, just halting them and just trying to delay them as much as possible from getting in onto the point.
Yeah, and they have Sashin with the Dragon Blade now. It looks like he wants to try to drop down with it potentially here on the high ground with Pumple. This is the better dive comp.
Oh.
Pick onto Shu already.
Doesn't even need the stick, just throws it onto the wall and Shu can't get away. Just a bit too slow there, doesn't have the Transcendence. Down by 20%. So he will fall yet again. Oberon also going down. Nearly has the Primal Rage, so doesn't need to go in for any more of those eco leaps.
That's right. And the eco leaps feel a lot more efficient.
God damn it. This is going to become a thing somehow.
But look, when you have a Genji to dive with you, it's a lot easier to actually make those flashy plays. That was a weird recall if we've ever seen one. Fleta will get the pick, however.
He just went somewhere that I've never seen before, just off into the distance, and then comes back to join us back on Earth. Sasen looking for an angle perhaps to use his Dragon Blade, but might be holding onto it now that the sound barrier is down there from the side of Flashlux. He goes dangerously low, tries to get the crawl up the wall, but will be taken down. Might just see that first flip here for the side of Flashlux as the delay is attempted by Kino, but he has to recall out now, boot back. Off the point will be the flip, but 84% was accrued for the Foxes on just the one take.
And they have the old lead, and the EMP is such an X factor. When you have a Dragon Blade out like this, you can do so much with it. If you can kill Oberon before he can Primal Rage, you can absolutely get the flip. That's going to be one of the ways they could try to make the fight happen. Looking for squishes in the backline, though.
Throws it down, but everybody's piled up, so it doesn't transition into an immediately kill in onto Shu, but with the Dragon Blade, it makes it that much easier. And that bomb will kill Hyuk off screen, but yeah,
that's the X factor I was talking about. If you get into a choke point like that, you got a Dragon Blade and no one can use abilities, then suddenly not only do you get the flip, but you hold on to the self-destruct as well. Hyuk didn't have the sound barrier either way. We are going to see that Primal Rage used for the contest here.
He's at 5 health when he does this, by the way.
Yeah.
absolutely absurd by Sasson. Comes up with the kills. That's the flip. Now we're into overtime. Weeso gonna get popped out of the mech first and foremost. Now the self-destruct thrown in by Rhea, looking for a kill. Not gonna find anything, but can make it back in. No, but actually Oberon with the Primal Rage is able to go ahead and kill her. Waiting for the retake. Barely have it, but it's still 28% here for Flash Slug. So if they get this take, they have to hold it the entire time. Veil jumping down onto the low ground, goes dangerously low, but has the Lucio there. Koma healing him back up, and they will get the flip.
It's really important. The hack onto Weeso meant that he couldn't self-destruct to remech. They still won the fight, but they're going to have now the self-destruct still hold on to it. The support ultimates are almost ready. They're not running the dive comp with the Genji, so the support ultimate's not as important, you could argue, but still in good position now is Flash Lux.
Fleta nearly finding that assassination kill onto Kino. And the headshot, but just not quite enough damage. Reacts a bit too quickly. Neko going low, drops down the EMP with 15 HP remaining. And now Shu is going to go ahead and pop that Transcendence as a response. Sound barrier from Hyuk. They want to take the fight right here. Foxes want to go ahead, find the victory, and tie things up and take us to Night Market. 2 kills already coming through now. Sasson yet again with the Dragon Blade drawn out. Let's see what he can get this time around. Doesn't quite kill off Oberon, but Kino is there to scoop up the kill in the end, so it's still working out in their favor. 72% there for Flash Slugs, but this will be the flip. That's going to be overtime. Can they get back to contest this is going to be the question.
Koma needs to get into position if he wants that to happen. Fleta is going to buy time now. Here comes the sound barrier. This is going to be their last-ditch effort. They have no other ultimates to use. Oberon nearly with the Primal Rage, but he's not ready yet.
They drop this one in, but speaking of Primal Rage, it's going to be Pumple popping his as Hyuk goes ahead and gets the boot kill in onto Veil. So already things going quite nicely here for the side of Foxes, but a trade back comes through onto Kino, getting rid of that pesky Tracer, but Neko yet again with another EMP helps take down Shield. They'll get Fleta, but Sasson dies as Oberon tries to rejoin the fight, just leaping around the point, trying to keep this one in contention, but he will be taken out by Rhea in the end, and now it's all on Weeso and Koma to try to keep this one going, but they're getting shoved back. They're going dangerously low, and this might just be the one fight, but of all people, it's actually Weeso delaying here for the side of Flash Lux in the Baby Diva form.
Okay, here comes the sound barrier, though. No one's able to get back onto the point here to mount the defense. Koma is taken out now. Weeso finally, before he can remech, is taken out as well. It looks like this is going to be the beginning of the end here for Flash Lux on Control Tower.
Yeah, Fleta has the recall, only gets a little bit of HP back, but now Veil joining in, but he's just so strictly outnumbered, but the Transcendence will come down right before the EMP hits, so they're still staying in the fight, and it keeps on going. Shu will go down in the end. There we go, that's enough. Weeso not onto the point. Will confirm the plummet on that overtime meter as NC Foxes get the round, they tie us up, and they will be forcing us on the Night Market.
There's definitely some weird self-destruct usage on the side of Rhea, but overall they were able to make it happen with the burst damage when they had the EMPs. Flash Lux had 2 supports, so obviously that's why they were able to out-heal a lot of that damage coming in from the Foxes when Sombra's trying to finish off those targets. Koma is such a great Lucio player. His sound barrier almost allowed Flash Lux to get the staggered deaths coming together into a 6-man for the defense, but wasn't enough. It was kind of a messy fight, I feel like you could say. There's not much you look at that fight and say, well, the big point of this all was one moment. There were definitely some mechanical errors on both sides, but the double healing, not enough for Flash Lux as we head into our final point of Lijiang.
Sasson yet again back over onto the Sphera. Concussive shot to go ahead and knock himself away. And look for a decent angle. Take to the ground for now. Almost gets clipped by those Helix rockets, but will be staying safe. And now looks for the flank. So he can try to get in onto Shu. Lands 2, but can't quite get the kill.
These angles have been really impressive, understanding the geography of the map and the movements of Flash Lux to punish with the rockets every time.
Punish. Oberon going in for one of those eco leaps will get taken down as Koma answers one onto Hyuk, but they're still just trading back. Those, just the one support there, going to be available for the side of Flash Lux, and NC Foxes are looking to take advantage of this window of opportunity to try to get the cap, and they will be able to do so.
Grabbing the first cap obviously so important to build percentage, but I don't think they'll necessarily hold on to it for very long. They lost the fight, got the cap, but that's only temporary if they don't lose, or sorry, if they lose this next one.
Seems like, yeah, this might just be a very early flip. You know, trying to delay as long as he possibly can. We'll lock them up for a bit as they jump back in. Hyuk getting knocked away, almost gets knocked off the map yet again, but oh, can't quite make it back to the big health pack. Will get taken down. But it's still a decent delay coming through. Pumple just trying to buy as much time here for his team as humanly possible. Now being rejoined by Attack Visor out by Veil, goes dangerously low and just gets taken out before he can drop that biotic field. Will fall, and now a Sound Barrier is in for Flash Lux right as they get the retake, so this should help them hold. Assassin goes low, takes to the skies, has the barrier, but Fleta, or the barrage rather, but Fleta will just go ahead and take him out from the ground.
Oberon is doing some real work here, but this has been expensive for Flashlex to hold on to this point. Transcendence comes out. I mean, it's a bloodbath here. Throw an ult economy out of the window for these two teams. We're fighting till the sun comes up. It feels like it will be a one fight for the Foxes at the end of the day. All ults pretty much thrown on the table with the exception of Sashin, who holds onto the rocket barrage. And again, he's the king of this team, it feels like right now, always finding the angles to disrupt the approaches of Flash Lux, and yet again, he does just that. Oh, looking for the kill here on the Soldier, gonna get it.
This corridor up 2 rockets, no problem, goes ahead, takes them out. Only can get rid of that pesky defense matrix. Could find an angle to open up with this barrage, but has to show respect to Weeso for now.
It almost feels like Veil, it's against his religion to attack the Pharah or something, because he is simply just never able to knock her out of the sky. It's always Sashin who's hunting the Soldier, and if that's your case, it's going to be a bad time. As Pharah is just always uncontested. Every time we have his first view, no one's shooting at him. It's partially because he's got good angles, but Veil is just not chasing him down.
But right there, he couldn't do anything. The Transcendence came through from Shu, and they all just wrap around the backside, and that leads to 3 members dying because Sasin can't open up with anything at all. Tries to jump in, ends up killing himself. One more shot is what he needs to get rid of Shu, but the point blank radius on that explosion just takes him down. But in the meantime, Foxes still have a lot of time to work with. 95%, nearly getting it into overtime as Flashlight gets to flip at 26.
Okay, the barrage, he's held onto it for so long. We had a pretty decent one where he snuck up behind them on our first point of the garden. So here on Night Market, we'll see if he can have that amazing barrage yet again after we do see that expiration of the defense matrix from Weeso. Watch this Tracer duel here for a moment. Looks like Kino wins it, doesn't get the kill.
Dangerously close to having that one, though. Now looking for Fleta from the side, almost takes him up. The sound barrier comes through from Coma right at the last second, but Shu is still going to be the first one to fall as Pumple pops that Primal Rage and just goes ham. Now Angry Monkey coming through from the side of Flash Luxus. Oberon pops his own. Neko going down off screen, and Kino is looking for a target, as is Sasin, who is still holding on to this barrage.
I mean, he just doesn't want to use it, and I don't know if they'll necessarily need it. They get the flip here. No one's nearby. They're going to have one last-ditch contest. That's why he held onto it so long. They also have the self-destruct.
Oberon makes his way back in, but he gets taken out first and foremost. Now Weeso getting jumped on. Sasin looking for a little bit more, has already used that barrage, now has that back angle, but the Transcendence is going to go ahead and nullify the majority of the damage coming through, but they still manage to pop Veil as they chase forward. Coma going down as well, and that might just be it. Foxes just trying to get everybody out. So we'll be able to tag in for one last second, but in the end, they will go ahead, claim Night Market and Lijiang Tower.
So I guess he used the barrage to make sure that the D.Va defense matrix was on cooldown so that he could just kill everyone with left clicks. I mean,
sure,
we'll go with that. He destroyed them there after there was so much resources designed to kill him when the barrage was active and when the defense matrix was up. But it was actually the play of Pumple, the Winston, who actually got the kills even after the block was there. The Transcendence was down, but once it was finished, once it had expired, that's when Pumple basically got all the kills there, and it was the lighting up of the enemies from Sashin. Sashin in Korean is a word that means the god of death, and I feel like it's an apt name for this Pharah player who somehow, some way, Veil has been unable to deal with. And I think it's two factors. Veil is not necessarily watching for him or trying to pick him out of the sky, and on the other hand, he's taking such weird approaches to how he's trying to attack. So it feels like kind of a surprise for Flashlights. Every time he comes in an angle they don't expect, they have to regroup, and it ruins a lot of the pushes, which is why when Foxes got the first cap and we had to see Flashlights slow push onto the point, they were so annoyed by these barrages on 2 of the maps there, Garden and of course there at the end. So I like what we're seeing here from Sashin quite a bit. But as I say that, I guess it's time for Summings too.
really good. I really enjoyed it, you know. It was a very good, you know, rollover of Sassin's performance and how great he was doing. So fantastic job, Wolf. But you just got debated out the ass because Solminster's coming in now. So we're going to go ahead and throw up for the 7-minute break as we get ready to see that swap come through. As they get ready to go over onto Hybrid. This will be Flash Lux's decision. We'll see what happens when we come back from the break, so don't go anywhere, guys.
인류는 늘 시험에 들지. 갈등과 전쟁의 열기 속에서 인류는 진화한다. 모든 투쟁 우리를 더 강하게 할지니. 쓰러지는 자는 잊혀질 것이고 일어서는 자의 이름은 영원토록 기억되리라.
잠깐만. 왜? 누가 빵꾸인 것 같은데? 나 아니야. 나 진짜 아니야. 빵구 소리 안 났어요? 빵구 소리 안 났어요? 맞죠?
누구야? 나 진짜 아니야.
누구야?
내 빵구 소리는 진짜 엄청 크게 나. 형 저는 소화를 다 시키고 왔어요. 화장실에서. 누구야? 태켄 형이에요? 다 했는데?
나 진짜
누구야?
아니 누가 들었는데?
임덕규.
어디서?
나랑 원혜병이랑. 야, 떡급식! 형이 그거 하지도 그렇게 알았어요.
그러니까 이러고서 지금 아까도 팔수 있어.
제가 내가 억울해. 빵구 소리가 아니라 이런 소리일 수도 있고.
그럴 수도 있죠. 아니야.
내가 생각 안 하나 했다.
이거 어떻게 의자에서 뽀뽀 소리가 날 수 없어?
뭐지? 나 진짜 아닌데.
얘에서 저희는
우리 방금 어떻게 켜?
야.
나 아니야.
이 빵꾸였어 소리가.
내 건 더 크게 나. 이거 열린 마이크 나 큰일 났다 이거. 그러니까 방귀 써.
아니 니가 맞아.
그러니까 방귀 써요.
방귀를 꼈는데 들릴 정도면 니가밖에 없어.
그거 진짜. 뭔 소리야 방귀. 아니 엉덩이 힘들지도 않았어. 저기. 부들부들하다 진짜. 아프리카 방귀 쓰다. 그중에 앞으로. 부들부들 슬프다.
평소에 좀 끼지 말든가.
인정.
그래. 평소에 끼지 말든가. 맨날 자기 전에 빵꾸 한 10번 이상 끼고 자는 사람이.
10번은 못 하고 한 5번이지.
야 원래 가해자는 몰라 피해자만 알아.
야 원래 방구 안 끼면 잠이 안 와. 너만 그래.
알았어.
너만 그래. 왜 알았어.
아니.
빵꾸 얘기하니까 빵꾸 나올 것 같아. 소리 좀 부글부글하고 지금.
껴도 돼.
그만합시다.
괜찮아.
여기까지. 이제 방귀게 그만.
부들이. 나만 손해 봤네.
이게 사실이잖아.
사실이긴 한.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Minute left on the clock for this roster swap out. Sasin will be getting replaced by
Sominsu.
Yeah, Sominsu. So we'll see how he's going to play.
Well,
now they're committed to this. They can't swap him back.
So, I mean, I had my love song for Sashin before he was immediately subbed out, but I saw him actually backstage, and it looks to be that he was pulled because he was insanely nervous in comms. And so despite having a great performance, I guess when you're freaking out a little bit, you're playing your first televised match like this, then maybe you get a little bit stressed out, you got to get pulled. So that's what subs are for. Sominsu, the flex DPS, but he has played support too, so we'll see what he ends up running here, as we saw mostly the Dragon Blades and the Pharah out of Sashin, so I have to expect he'll be playing a similar hero pool fitting into the 6-man.
That would be my guess here, but this does also give Flashlux that much more time to go ahead and convene with their coach and figure out what the next strategy is going to be, including their map pick. As we will be moving over on to Hybrid. Saw Kings Row from the first series, going to be Kings Row yet again.
Big surprise. For some reason, this map very balanced. Everybody likes to play on it. I mean, I myself am a big hater. No, I love this map. We're going to see very likely a lot of that 2-2-2, but some of the Phalanx comp with the Zarya, Reinhardt, and the defensive for the DPS. We saw earlier ArHaN on the Hanzo, and that's something that we saw the Korean national team play, and you know, we've seen it in a few matches here and there, not just for the Sonic Arrow. But I think that the Freecs are having a little bit of fun with that one too. I don't know if we're really going to see that, but if we do, I think it's probably going to be Fleta who brings it out. He's got a very vast hero pool, so something that Flashlux may be looking to run, perhaps the Junkrat as well.
We'll see what they're going to do here. Kings Row, Flashlux, their selection, going to be looking to go ahead and tie things up with a 1-1 and extend this series, make it actually a series and not just have another 3-0 shutout. We'll see if Foxes can go ahead and move the match point as we go on to Kings Row, map number 2.
I get it.
Well, we get it, but it looks like we also might be getting a pause.
Yep. I will find out very shortly. It looks like it might be an issue with Wiso.
Or Shu, perhaps.
Or Shu.
So it might be another headset issue. Yep, there we go. Figure out the root of the problem.
We already outlined earlier that to hear sounds in this game is very important, and so warrants a pause here. Not even in the middle of the action, just as the map is loading, so can hardly even call it a pause, as we were not even in game, Kalios.
This is true. Well, that's a pause. It's a pause from the action, because, well, if nothing else, we got plenty of that from Lijiang Tower.
Certainly, it was definitely a lot of scrappy fighting there. Last man standing, battle royale style. Last man standing, their team caps the point.
Well, yeah, this is actually just Flashlux and NC Foxes are communicating with Blizzard, and they're doing a nice little promotion game to get ready for the deathmatch mode that's going to be coming out. So that's exactly what it was.
Definitely. That's exactly the idea. These two are going to be the ones invited for sure if there's a deathmatch mode added to the game. So obviously, we're going to just kind of take this time to pause here. I do worry for both teams in a sense. Like, I feel like the next map could look even scrappier because coordination is not as required, I feel like, in a lot of ways on Control, because you kind of do these pushes over and over and over again to try to get a flip and get a team wipe. But it's more important on a map like Kings Row to not just win the fight, but to get into an angle that allows you to win the fight. It's not just a straight-up brawl on an area. There's tactical advantages for high ground, for example, and what do you give me that look for?
You say that it's not just going to be a brawl, but something tells me that it probably will be a brawl.
I mean, sure, but I think that the team that approaches the brawls more strategically will have an edge, and the defender will have an advantage if we have scrappy eco leaps and things like that again. So.
Oh dear. We're really just married to this term now, aren't we?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
I'm gonna tattoo eco leap right on my bag, man.
All right, perfect. I can't wait to see it. That tweet should pop off. But yeah, we'll use it, but it's always going to be a bit facetiously.
Well, I don't think this is the real attack comp, but the defense comp starts to look more standard now with the switch off of the Reinhardt. We're going to see the Fleta Veil DPS duo. High ground defense, just like we saw from the Orcas earlier this evening, on the very map that we find ourselves on here. And for attack, we'll find out in about 12 seconds what the Foxes want to run. Well, I have to imagine there's a pretty high chance they're going to keep running the dive. Remember, Suminsu is subbed in, and he's actually going to be on the Doomfist here.
Yeah, that's what he's showing at the moment. It's a bit too late to go ahead and swap, so we'll be bringing this one out for us. Let's see how he is going to be playing compared to what we saw from Sassen earlier on. And for a back line, leaping forward, Seismic Slam not going to get the damage in and just shorts it on the charge, and he's going to go down first and foremost as Veil finds the kill, and he's just like, oh, darn it.
Gosh darn it.
I was so close.
They shouldn't have nerfed him. I would have gotten him pre-nerf.
Well, that's not going to be a good start.
That's the end of this first push. Obviously, the weakness of Doomfist is his limited range. Sure, he has high mobility, and it does quite a bit of damage when he gets onto his targets, but if he gets kited back, then, as we just saw, he gets picked off, and it might be a similar situation here.
Moving up onto the high ground, at least gets the rocket punch this time around, but it's not enough to knock Wiso out of that one. Finds it on Tacoma. There we go. That's looking more like a pro Doomfist. Comes up with the kill. Seismic Slam not going to get the connection, nor is the fist. He's doing a nice job of creating some distance away from the point here with the rest of his squad. So second tick will be coming through for the Foxes, and maybe even just the cap. We see that sleep in on the Veil, so Wiso has to jump down onto the low ground all by himself and will get taken out very swiftly. And yeah, that's just going to be it. So now 5 minutes, 13 seconds on the clock here for the Streets phase for the Foxes. A very nice start.
Yeah, when you have that set up with your DPS and your Lucio in the, I don't know, what do you call that, little hallway up there where you fire down at the high ground, you are used to dealing with the dive of the Tracers, the Genjis to harass you up there. You have the Lucio that helps you escape, but when there's a Doomfist there and you don't see him coming, there's not a whole lot of time to react. Don't go, oh, I'm being shot at, I'll just get down here or I'll escape. Lucio's going to help me out. Doesn't quite work that way against the Doomfist.
Oh, well, Seismic Slam straight into the Meteor Strike coming through. Mitsu dropping in, looking for the tanks. Not going to get a whole lot done with that one, however, but Koma still goes down off the backside of the fight. Seismic Slam forward helps get rid of Shu. So no supports available for the side of Flashlux. Payload not really moving at the moment, so the tank line of Flashlux still buying a decent amount of time as Wiso finally gets knocked out of the mech. Will get taken down eventually, and they can get things moving, but that's already a minute off of the time bank.
Well, Sunmin Su's substitution here, at least in our first game where he said it's going to be, I mean, sure, we saw the nerves from Sashin, but it looks like he's prepared and planned to be using this Doomfist here to great effect. Flashlux is going to switch up the comp. They're going to turtle up with the McCree variation of what we like to call the Phalanx, where you have these shields of protection for the solo DPS, and Veil is going to be that guy. We'll see if he can be protected now against this aggressive dive from the Doomfist.
Well, self-destruction in the back is going to go ahead and find a kill in onto Shu, so it's a good start for the Foxes, who might just keep pushing unhindered here into point B. And yeah, you can see Flashlux just looking to surrender this one out. Wiso's still playing forward, but the rest of the team, they started kiting back around the corner.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be stopped. There's just no way. And they're really just trickling deaths at this point. So, I mean, the idea against the Doomfist for sure was, okay, let's turtle up. It's going to make it tougher for him to dive in the anti-Doomfist comp. But the self-destruct threw a wrench into all of the gears because it came behind them. They couldn't turn the Reinhardt around quickly enough. It's now Oberon switching back to the Winston. But really coordinated there from the Foxes.
For that multi-man Meteor Strike, we'll go ahead, toss this one down. Not quite going to be finding the kills, and actually gets popped immediately by that full energy Fleta, who also follows up in onto Kino, so both DPS members of the Foxes will be going down. Nearly get the kill on the Hyuk as well, but Flashlux will be able to go ahead and regain control over this payload for the moment as they finish off Humble.
So this is super turtly the comp here. I mean, it's triple tank with Fleta now on the Zarya. You still only have Veil for DPS. You've got the double support and especially the Ana to make sure that the heals are real. It's going to be very difficult for the Doomfist to actually find kills, find picks against all this healing, and even to approach this heavy tank line. And I feel like it's going to, again, have to be Rhea with the self-destruct to start the engage, or perhaps a Primal Rage. We're long away from that for Puffle, but going to be tough for the approach here.
Well, Oberon getting it going in for one of those eco leaps. Going to see that Deadeye coming through, finds just the one onto Kino, so not as much value as Vale would have liked, but at least does find a pick-off with that. His way back over towards the spawn as we see Wiso getting popped out yet again. Will get taken down. The payload is yet again advancing with 3.5 minutes just about remaining on the clock. Flashlugs have to pile in for this one, and they only have the nano boost. Will be thrown down onto Oberon first and foremost. Trying to buy themselves some time and get some damage in. He's got the Primal Rage as well. To delay this a little bit longer as we see the self-destruct thrown out. Not
Great
getting any kills. Kills are there on the side of the boxes, but Wiso throws his own, finds the answering too as Hyuk and Kino both go down.
Yeah, it was actually so important they delayed enough time for that self-destruct to come out. Meteor Strike not used here actually to survive for Seominsu, and what looked like surely was that really nice zoning self-destruct was going to be the completion. The rollback begins here. Seominsu does have that Meteor Strike available. The only unfortunate thing for Foxes is that they use the Primal Rage, but they have every tool in the book to force this one in now, and they want to do it ASAP to ensure that good time bank.
Here we go, Transcendence thrown down by Neko, going to be answered by the Sound Barrier, out from Coma. Meteor Strike into the back, looking for Shu, will be able to finish him off. We get the charge in onto that bubbled Fleta, but Minso is still able to go ahead and scoop up the kill in the end. Pops away onto Wiso, and that should be the completion here. 2 minutes, 11 seconds remaining. NC Foxes with a very nice push here on Kings Row.
You know, I actually start to feel like I understand why Rhea is in the captain's chair. Remember, historically in Apex, there have been some exceptions, but for the most part, that chair was reserved for the shot caller, who's very often the Lucio player. And unless he just likes to sit up top, you'd have to assume that that means he's making the calls. And if he is making these really sick calls, his self-destruct usage, both of them were really good. Had Flashlugs not barely bought enough time there to stop the completion, we wouldn't have even seen Wiso self-destruct there coming out. But really good self-destruct usage, the coordination with the Meteor Strike for mobility, it's there for sure. And it's cool to see a Diva player as the shot caller for the Foxes because, you know, you're giving the protection to the DPSs, but you're also the one who's opening up the backline, allowing those Meteor Strikes to perhaps be better. And I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. And we were worried about this maybe being the all-out brawl, the melee here, but with Rhea making the calls on attack, it was really good coordination out of the Foxes, and that's why they have that 2-minute-plus bank of time to work with.
Yeah, and it started off a little bit wonky there from Minsu with the Doomfist, but by the end was instrumental to the Foxes' success on that push. So now just going to be changing things up a little bit at the moment. We'll see if they want to hold these picks as they have 35 seconds remaining, but seems like might just be the 2-2-2 coming through with Minsu over onto the Genji this time around. So similar mobility as far as his hero is concerned.
Yeah, and let's see what if Fleta is really going to be running the Sombra here on attack. We have seen it before, but I don't think that he'll stick with it. I think we should probably just wait a moment. Koma's going to do that scouting Sonic Arrow to find out if it's going to be the Reinhardt Zarya defense or the more common high ground soldier. It's neither, in fact, though, as you say, Seominsu is on the Genji. So it's defensive dive with Neko on the Ana. So this will be scouted now. And Fleta is holding on to that Sombra.
Yeah, we'll be moving forward with this one on the attack. So 2-2-2, the Sombra not going to be offering up quite as much damage as you might like for the 2-2-2, but already they're able to get a nice pick off there onto Pumple. So a good start for Flashlugs as they keep moving forward, and Rhea's cutting back over towards the archway, or archway.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to zone this out. Yeah, I mean, Fleta is nowhere near the EMP, but I guess no EMPs required is the subtext on this one. They're going to go in for one last-minute contest. They don't really have a lot of tools, though.
They need to do something. Just nearly giving over this first point for free. It'd be a lot of time in the bank there for Flashlugs to work with on the street space. They finally find some ground to stand on those. They get rid of Shu and Wiso. And that should be Flashlugs pushing back over towards the spawn as much as they possibly can. Minso goes forward looking for the pick, but goes low and has to kite back, but Kino is able to go ahead and finally get the kill onto Vale.
It's weird to see Fleta on the Sombra in this situation because obviously you don't have a lot of health packs to work with on the attack in this situation, and you're not going to have the EMP early. He has it now, So this is an opportunity for them to use that to flip the point. They already have 2 ticks. And here he comes with said EMP available.
Drops it down and find a kill on the Neko, but Shu has also fallen off screen. Now the sound barrier around here from the side of the Fox is only clipping onto a few members, so not the maximum value that they would have liked. They can still sit in and get the delay, especially as they pop Wiso out of that mech and also eliminate Veil. So Foxes will be holding on at the moment here, but it's still the 2 ticks that were gained for Flash Slug, so if they get any ground here on point A, they can very swiftly take this, get some time on the bank, and start advancing through the streets.
I like the Fleta swap off the Sombra. I just don't think it's really strong in this situation if you're up against, say, a Zenyatta, where you can get these backline picks maybe to start flipping the point, but I prefer this approach to actually use, you know, his Pharah for the first time in this series. Try to use the high ground advantage over the defensive dive comp. Still has a actually decent amount. He's built up on that barrage as well, very quickly to 45%. They're going to have the big 6 soon. They need it.
That's a good pick off on Kino there. Pulse Bomb coming out from Veil, not going to be finding anything in the meantime. Minzu drawing out the Dragon Blade will just be met by that Transcendence from Shu, but Rhea has actually killed Veil with the self-destruct. So it's not without nothing here for the side of the Foxes. Sound barrier thrown down from Flash Slugs, investing both of their support ultimates into this push to try to just go ahead and close it out right here, right now. A few more seconds onto the point alone will just buy it for them and enter into the street space. But NC Foxes don't want to go down without a fight. They want to drain as much time off this clock as they possibly can. But getting the pick there onto Rhea will just go ahead and confirm the cap. 3.5 minutes for the side of Flash Slugs, but they need a very fast street space if they want to match the time of NC Foxes.
I mean, they can't bleed off a minute, basically, if they want to match the time, which is so difficult to do. They used a lot to capture this as well. Wiso had to use his self-destruct, overbrought, of course, with the Primal Rage. So not only did Foxes buy some extra time with that hold, but they forced ultimates to be essentially wasted for the side of Flash Slugs. So would have liked to be holding on to those for the extended street phase. Might not necessarily have those when they get to the toughest part of the capture, which is right next to the checkpoint itself. So Minsu switching over now to the Soldier here. Doesn't want to keep running Genji dive against the comp anymore. Up the Pharah. Wants to shut out in the high air, I guess the high ground, the flying DPS here. Struggling with my words for a moment, but yeah, that's the idea, is to shut down the Pharah.
Fleta's looking for the angle here, trying to get around the defense matrix grabs. There's on that barrage, finds Neko right as the sleep dart comes through, so not a great value for it. But we'll see. Flash Slugs are still coming up with more kills as Rhea will fall. Fleta back up into the air, trying to finish off his final support, but Kino comes to the Hyuk's rescue and finishes them off. But a lot of distance has been gained onto this payload by Flash Slugs, so it is very swift, which is exactly what they needed. Minsu turning around, finds Veil with attack visor, but that's about it.
This is suddenly a really poorly coordinated defense. We saw the Pulse Bomb attempt right into the D.Va eat, and remind you, this was him alone, the only alive player trying to 1v6 with the Pulse Bomb. Even if he gets a kill, it accomplishes nothing. Then we see Minsu pop the attack visor, perhaps getting a little bit hyped about the defense matrix being down off cooldown, but 2 ultimates wasted there for the Foxes, and a risky time to have those gone as self-destruct's coming back online, and they're looking for this checkpoint.
Well, that's going to be the sound barrier out from the side of Flash Slugs, pushing in. They want to go ahead and get the close off so they have a decent amount of time to work with as they get ready to move into the Foundry, but losing out onto Shu is not going to be doing them any favors. Will also massively delay his Transcendence from coming back up as Kino picks up the double kill, getting rid of Fleta. Veil dashing around the ground, has that Pulse Bomb ready to go, but doesn't find its target. Already lost out on too many members, so they will go ahead and just pull back towards point A.
Time's ticking down, man. You know, we had such a great quick cap for the Foxes. They did struggle towards the end, but the coordination was really good with Rhea doing the self-destructs to hard engage. They had the Doomfist. Fleta switches over to it, speaking of which, to try to deal with this high ground defense we're seeing from Minsu.
Let's see what kind of performance he can have. Seismic Slam's not going to connect, goes in for the punch, but doesn't have the wall there to finish off Minsu. Takes him rather low and sends him sprinting away, but that's about it. There we go, finds the punch in onto Kino. That's going to be one. Seismic Slam forward, gets rid of that Soldier 76, and now the sound barrier comes out from Foxes, so yet again, just a bit late to try to keep the DPS members alive, but Kino will be able to join in rather swiftly, and Minsu says, all right, you want to go toe-to-toe? I'll bring out my own Doomfist. You've already experienced it. So let's see who comes out on top. Meantime, Rhea will go down, popped out of the mech. But Pumple's just sitting in onto this point, trying to keep it in contention. Make sure he can't advance.
Time.
Oh, dies right as he gets the Primal Rage.
If he gets that Primal Rage, totally different situation here. So a nice grab there. Looks like Flash Slugs is going to shove this in, getting consistent picks now. The Fox is overextended a little bit just to burn down that time. but already, worst case scenario for the Foxes, they're up about 30 seconds in time bank. So already big wins for them. They were able to buy a lot of time, stave off these pushes. And Seong-Min-Soo, so far, he's been the better Doomfist, I feel, of the two. But Fleta has that Meteor Strike available. It's still he wants to use it.
Looking for the charge here, doesn't find anything, so says, you know what, I'm just going to cancel that one rather than overextend. Moves to the side with the seismic slam, looking for another one, finds the hit in on Kino. Now Meteor Strike coming out immediately. Can he get it? Yes, he does. Gets rid of Min-Soo and just gets the uppercut down onto Neko. Very swift triple kill coming through by Fleta on his own, and the payload will keep moving. They're already below half the amount of time that Foxes had on the clock during their finish, so Flashlights desperately need this as quickly as possible, but their backs will still be up against the wall when we go to the overtime round.
And this could certainly be a full hold, or it's not a full hold, but the prevention of completion here on this third point. Seong-Min-Soo has Meteor Strike. They can try to pair it with Rhea with the self-destruct.
He's already gotten rid of Fleta. We'll see the self-destruct toss into the air there by Rhea, looking for the pick, finds Coma. The Transcendent's not enough to keep him alive, and Uncia also gets popped out of the mech as Kino follows up for the kill onto the Baby Diva. That's with 35 seconds remaining, and Min-Soo has been able to just hold on to this Meteor Strike all the while long.
Fleta switched onto the Widow. They want to try to rush back to this point ASAP. He's going to be looking for those headshots here. Oberon has the Primal Rage. Uiso's going to have self-destruct in an extended fight. They have one chance to make this happen. No delay tactics for Pumple or Rhea. They popped everything trying to defend there to get the prevention of completion, but still, better tools for delay here on the side of Flashlux.
Well, that's going to be them pushing forward. The Nano Boost has already been thrown out there now. Sound barrier coming down. Min-Soo looking for the Meteor Strike. Doesn't find anything, but Fleta has been taken out. But yes, as he comes down from the ultimate, Coma is able to follow up with the kill, and it's just an all-out brawl as Vale keeps the payload in contention on the backside.
He's the one they need so badly because they already lost Oberon. No Primal Rage.
But it's okay. It's honestly okay because Vale is the one who's drawing all the time, and he is still alive. The Orb of Harmony was enough to just allow him to stay in on top of the payload the entire time, and now Foxes have to try to regroup if they want to get this hold. Self-destruct comes through, not going to be finding the kill, just gets the push away in onto Shu, but two members go down. Pulse bomb in on the Fleta, gets rid of him. They don't have a Lucio, and it just plummets, and Foxes will pick up another win now on King's Row and move to match point.
And they won the battle basically by disorienting, I would say, disjointing the team fight there for Flashlux. And how was it going to ever be a proper fight when you are running the Widowmaker, you've got the staggered respawns? They had the two greatest tools for the two tanks that you could ever want to force the finish, which was the self-destruct and the Primal Rage. The self-destruct came out first, even after the sleep, but the Primal Rage was shut down twice, and they just couldn't ever get control with the slow respawns coming in for them. They have to run the longer distance back to get completion. We saw Fleta trying to play some Widowmaker, didn't really do anything, died immediately, switched over to the Soldier, and really, we say that was the last push, but really their last push was the push just prior, because with what they brought to the table trying to make that push happen, I mean, it was never going to work.
It was so close there, and it was great heroics by Vale, buying as much time as he did. The lone Tracer on that payload goes low, finally gets the Orb of Harmony from Shu to help keep him alive, but just wasn't enough in the end. But it was a great effort by him. Bought so much time, but because of that, the overtime meter just absolutely plummets at the end of that.
You know, Foxes come out of challenge, and they are already putting Flashlux down at the bottom of the scoreboard. It's got to feel rough when one of your easiest opponents you've had in your Apex career is 2-0 against you.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them, but we're going to be going to a quick commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we'll see if NC Foxes can close out for our fourth 3-0 match in a row here at Apex Season 4, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
에너지가 필요한 순간 핫6와 함께 핫하게 즐겨라. 올여름 가장 핫한 리그 오버워치 핫6 에이펙스.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are at match point yet again here tonight in our second series as NC Foxes have been able to pick up the first two. Lijiang Tower going the distance all 3 rounds, won by them. Then Kings Row able to get the hold just in front of Point C versus Flashlucks, who now have their backs against the wall.
The Flashlucks coach has had a grimace on his face since the start of the series.
Since the start of Season 1.
Since the start of Season 1. Like, I mean, since the team was formed, before they even went to qualifiers. But now, I mean, we talk about career stats. It's 2-0 the first time this team has played at Apex versus 4-28 for Flashlucks. And, I mean, everyone is frowning. The morale is clearly low. And for the side of the Foxes, not only did they have a win on the tough map Control Tower, that was their toughest one, they put in a sub, and he killed it. Ria's got a smile on his face. We talk about the tank shot caller. Foxes look to close out this series, and we're going to find out where we're going to potentially have our last game of the night. It's Hanamura.
All right, well, we saw Volskaya in our first series, going to be Hanamura. And I think that if we've learned anything from these two teams playing against each other so far, Wolf, it's that 2 capture point could be absolutely insane.
It could be a slugfest. Yeah, it could be a dirty one. We'll find out as we head into this. But I don't the expressions of the players, and we don't talk about this very often, but it doesn't breathe confidence into me about what they're feeling going is. Look at the stark contrast between the rookie team, the challenger team that sets foot in the booth for the first time, and what we just saw from Flashlucks, expression-wise, the veterans of this league. They have played in every season, and they have fallen short every time. And this time against a challenger team, they fall even shorter, it feels. 0-2 so far.
We'll see if they can turn things around, make this a series, or if we will yet again have another 3-0 here today. 2 of them just 2 days ago would be 4 in a row if the Foxes pull it off. So let's see what happens as we dive into potentially our last map of the night. It's Hanamura.
get it.
Alrighty. Here we go.
Here we go indeed. And I say that, you know, the Foxes are rookies and they're new players. We talked about earlier Hyuk and Kino being former Flashlux players. So they've been in the booth before. And it's always this weird feeling when you have a player, you know, like these who presumably, I mean, let's not presume, but let's say there's a high chance they were kicked from the roster because they were underperforming, and now they have the chance to shine on a new roster after going through challenges. It's the Effect story. Everybody remembers Effect was not good enough to make Meta Athena's roster, was relegated onto Bellum, and then eventually taken off of that roster as well. And then finally, when he was given the right team to shine, he looked really good. And I feel like we're seeing a little bit of that with Hyuk and Kino here. It's early days. It's only 2 games. They're not having the impact Effect did, certainly. But to defeat your old team here must be bittersweet in a weird kind of way.
Well, here we go. Flashlux starting things off on the attack. We will see Fleta over onto that Genji and Veil on the Tracer for the 2-2-2. Fox is on the defense, actually going to be having Minsu over on their own Genji as well. So pretty much mirrored compositions coming through just with the addition of the Ana. But we will see that first kill coming down as Fleta just melees Pumple to death. Looking for a little bit more. Need to go ahead and try to pop Rhea out of that mech to help them out. But getting Hyuk is just about as good as you could possibly hope for.
Yeah, really good discording and working with Fleta to actually get these pickoffs. He's always killing the Discord target. They're clearly calling them out here. So well done. Shu got picked off, but before he died, he gave that extra percentage-based damage, and that is going to be the first tick now for the Foxes. In fact, it might just be the full, or sorry, for Flashlux, it might just be the full cap.
It's starting to look that way. Foxes, yeah, not really in a position to get back, so they will just have to surrender this one. So that's going to be 7 minutes on the clock for Flashlux to try to get point B. So this will either be a very fast take, or we're going to be sitting here for a while.
Could be a while, I'm leaning towards myself. Suminsu is going to switch to the Doomfist yet again, actually looking for the dive down. No one scouts him out, so he gets a pretty decent amount of damage.
Yeah, just gets that punch coming through there. Has to try to retreat. Fleta has drawn out the Dragon Blade, looking for the Doomfist.
Didn't really gain anything from that, sadly.
Minsu is still alive, and you can see they're shoved all the way back. Fleta finally getting taken down here as Kino finds a double kill. They're just about at least popped Wiso out of the mech. Pumple finished him off.
I mean, it's kind of a funny circumstance that you can't really be too mad about losing your Dragon Blade in this scenario. And I was going to say, there's one of 2 reasons why I used it so haphazardly. Either he was thinking of switching, which he did now twice, the Pharah and now onto the Doomfist finally, or he just knows they had nearly 7 minutes of time in the bank, so looking for a potential snowball tick gain here. But either way, it is going to be Doomfist on Doomfist here. The world is doomed on this map of Hanamura.
All right, well, that's going to be a nice opener there as they get rid of Neko. Fleta will get taken out despite the sound barrier coming through, but Veil is able to go ahead and pick up Minsu as well with that Pulse Bomb. Transcendence is thrown down here. So just have an exchange of them. Fox is trying to hold on to the point as that first tick still has not come through yet. Flashlux cutting back a little bit more, playing defensively. As yet again, they have plenty of time on the clock, and we actually saw Neko swap over to the Bastion for a moment there.
Yeah, just for a moment. He's going to swap again here. Kind of an interesting choice there, but I can't, I mean, obviously we have seen last-minute Bastion play out of players like Toby and IDK when you're like, oh, okay, this works, and it bought them a last-minute amount of time, but it's kind of a weird one. We can't really judge it because we didn't stick with it, but the ult lead is for the Foxes. The Flashlux are just going to have to try to build ult economy. Suminsu is always waiting here on the high ground to punish these move-outs. Doesn't actually get in there this time. Oh, spoke too soon.
Seismic slam down onto Combo, who's completely surrounded. They just take him out. Good communication, just keeping track of where everybody's at. It's that fast drop down.
They just want to get kills early with him so that the DPSs at range are not building ult economy. You know, Veil is looking to build up pulse bombs. Wiso building into that. The self-destruct. Is he okay? Well, this leads me to believe there are definitely some arguments and comms about what they should be playing.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out what he needs to go to, and okay.
You actually have to respect this, though. I actually, to be honest, I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often where people are just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's have like a 10-second talk about this because this is clearly not working. And I mean, it's unfortunate. There are definitely huge drawbacks. Like, he lost his entire ult. He has to build now into this Zarya ult. He's starting it off slow. It burned a lot of their time, but we'll see how the results work out.
Seismic shove into the rocket punch. Not going to find the connection there, but the Meteor Strike is ready to go, and he's going to go ahead and throw it down, looking for a target. Drops in, but he drops on top of a Transcendencing Shu. Not going to be finding much.
But that's a big win. Transcendence takes longer to build oftentimes than the Meteor Strike, so
very true.
Self-destruct is used here as well, so it's going to be a 2-for-1 actually advantage Flash Lux with this trade. Remember, they're not looking to win the game right now. They're looking to build ults to have combos later. The bigger bang is going to be the main one.
You say that, but maybe they are going for this one. They go ahead, throw out that self-destruct from Wiso. Sveil is building up, nearly has the Dead-Eye. There we go, pops it. Looking for a target, but it's going to be Defense Matrix straight up into his face, so good reaction by Rhea. Go ahead and stomp him out. He'll go low, down to 13 HP. Will finally be finished off as Minsu finds a double kill.
Feels like a lack of patience by this move from Flash Lux. They threw in the self-destruct, but there was no pairing with it. It was only after that effect had all worn off that we saw Veil try to get the Dead-Eye to work, when there was clearly a Diva available, clearly a Defense Matrix available, and they just wasted a lot of ultimates. If they had 6, or or even close to 6 as we saw there, or maybe waited for Fleda's ult, then this could have done a lot more, right? But they saw blood in the water. They thought this is the moment, this is the opportunity, but they were wrong, and now they're going to have to burn a lot more time to get back to a similar situation in ults, and nothing to pair with the Graviton Surge that's about to be ready.
Oh, well, they got a really nice sleep dart there on the Fleta right as he rounded the corner, but got woken up by Pumple immediately. So is building up, has the Graviton Surge in just a couple seconds, but what can they do with it? AoE damage is not exactly stellar from the side of Flash Lux at the moment. Meteor Strike, speaking of AoE damage, is there from Minsu, but just uses it to get out of dodge.
Yeah, doesn't want to just force it there and end up dying. I mean, he can just simply kill people with the Graviton Surge if he's high energy, but right now he's sitting at a fat 0, so he needs to make sure that he's at the perfect fight for it. Okay. We just saw that happen on TV.
That is definitely not what he was looking for. Fleta with a very uncharacteristic miss on that Graviton Surge. Gets absolutely nobody. And now it's a push forward there from the side of Yuck with that Transcendence, trying to keep everybody topped off. Will lose out on Takino. Keeps everybody alive in the meantime, as Foxes will go ahead and just kite back down onto the low ground. And Flash Lux losing out on that Graviton Surge is just absolutely detrimental to them. They're looking still for a couple picks here onto Pumple as he has that Primal Rage ready to go, but it seems like he is just chasing and finishing off Shu to really put a stop to the push.
We talked about Flash Lux's morale and their panic where they...
Oh my god, he barely got out of there.
Well, we talked about their panic where they paused. They spent about 10-15 seconds talking about compositions. They had like, okay, we got a huge time bank. How are we going to use it? We have enough time to build a Graviton Surge. That's the plan. And when you make a mistake like that one, you switch back onto the Doomfist, but when you make a mistake like that one, that's the kind of mistake that doesn't leave you through the series. That's on your mind for the rest of the night, no matter what happens. We go to Game 5 or no. And, I mean, Flash Lux looks totally broken afterwards.
I mean, that is a bit of a tilt there. So Fleta yet again just going to be swapping through. Nano Boost coming down. They get the Sleep Dart down from Neko. Bionic Grenade kills Fleta. And oh dear, we're suddenly down to 40 seconds remaining on the clock.
Looks frustrated. This play is not the clean play we've known from him. We talked about how Fleta and Veil were basically the star DPSs for the team, and it felt like the rest of the team never lived up to that, especially Fleta with a massive hero pool. But we're seeing a big list of those heroes in this game. He keeps switching. He went in alone. No one was there with him. They have a lot of ults to use with it, but he just simply did not. And we need to see better coordination for the last 15-second push.
Yeah, I mean, he's been one of those players that everybody always said, like, oh, I wish that Fleta would be on a better team because Flash Lux never had success. He never made it out of the group stage. But right now, Fleta is not playing like a player that deserves to be on a better team. He has just been a detriment in Hanamura right here. Minsu, however, going down is a nice opening, but they lose out onto Iso immediately as Flash Lux is trying to force this overtime. Veil yet again getting jumped on with the Dead-Eye, gets the pop out onto the mech from Rhea, who does manage to get the self-destruct off, and it actually kills Fleta yet again as the sound barrier comes down from Coma. And now Flash Lux have to be all in on this one, but they're getting stomped out. The Meteor Strike kills Veil, and that might just be it. 7 minutes to try to get point B. They get held the entire time, and NC Foxes are poised to take this set.
The Foxes probably have a weird feeling in a mentality going into this one, as some Minsu did not play the perfect Doomfist, but when you're dealing with these really failed dead eyes that Rhea is shutting down so consistently. When you see that Graviton surge, I think everybody in the booth on the side of FlashLux is probably silent. No one wants to call him out. But on the side of NC is probably somebody's laughing. You're saying, okay, they're tilted. What was that Graviton surge? Fled is switching again. And now, even though it looked like they had the greatest time bank of all time, you and I said, it feels like it's going to go to a longer when it went all the way. And you have to feel like right now, if you're on the Foxes, you probably feel like all you have to do is walk across the red carpet to victory, cross the finish line. It feels like this is going to be the stomp. You know the mentality is clearly shattered for Fleta, maybe not for the whole team, but for Fleta specifically, it's clearly shattered. And you feel like, okay, I just defended a 7-minute time bank push, repeated pushes, swaps coming in. Is there anything else I can't do against this team? And we'll see what happens. This series isn't over, but it certainly looks over. From the observer perspective.
Yeah, very much does. And I mean, just need that cap and then 33% on B. And it's just a shame. I mean, you know, Fleta and Vale were two players that were very much a pleasure to watch before, even though FlashLux had their struggles throughout the history of Apex. Those two were the shining lights on this roster. And seeing Fleta play like this is actually just upsetting because it's not what we have come to expect.
Yeah, if you're watching Fleta for the first time, your first thought is probably, I don't understand the hype. And let's be frank, this is not the Fleta we saw from seasons 1 to 3 and in the promotion tournaments.
Yeah. Well, let's see how they're going to manage here on the defense. Fleta back over onto the Tracer Veil, onto that Soldier. And Minsu, unsurprisingly, is going to be sticking in with this Doomfist as they start pushing in for the attack.
Fleta's going to be on the Tracer instead of the Genji, so a different approach to defense. That's being the variation of the approach to defense versus the Foxes.
Well, they already lose out on the Shu, so not a great start, but a trade back onto Neko is going to be a good one, so good target find there by Fleta.
Looks like Minsu is looking for the pick on the Veil. Is going to get it, too. Yep. Just perfect understanding of where Veil was going to be. Stealth move here. This is going to be the cap, and they're going to have an equal time bank to work with now.
Yeah, another very swift cap coming through, so 7 minutes. Can FlashLux pull off the miracle hold? Like we saw from the side of the Foxes, the likelihood is very slim, you'd have to expect, so this could just be the beginning of the end here for this series. 33%, all that NC Foxes need to accrue onto point number B. Point B.
Yeah, I mean, FlashLux gave that up because they knew that if there was a secondary cap, like the double cap or even a back cap potentially, they would have lost the game immediately. Yeah. So they just had to let that go. We're talking another 7-minute time bank. And Kino's looking for the pick here on the Mac. Will get it. This could be, I mean, just straight up it, man. I don't want to call this too early, but it's only Kino on the point. That is it.
That's Wiso and Oberon. Yeah, they've already been popped out. They are able to trade one back onto Wiso, or onto Rhea, as he gets knocked out. But look at the kills just coming through. That's the 33% in about 40 seconds. NC Foxes go ahead, they pick up B, and they will win the series 3-0, our second one of the night, 4th in a row here at Apex Season 4. And FlashLux, the veteran team in Apex, has been here from the start, will get taken down by the new blood.
I mean, we can't call this one a shocker, right? Especially after game number 1. Maybe we're thinking, oh, maybe this is going to be a close series, but going into this one, I think you had to paint FlashLux as the underdogs because they always disappointed. And today I feel like it was Fleta who really just fell apart. We had a camera shot of him several times where you could see he wasn't speaking, he wasn't talking. The Graviton surge mistake, sure, that's one big one, absolutely. That really led to the demise, but there were several small things like his Doomfist just going in solo queue 1v6. We saw him do that about 4 times. His constant switching of heroes, his clear arguments with the team about what comp to run when they had the 7-minute time bank. And here he is pictured on camera, silent again. No one is happy. FlashLux, remember, they have a tough group with the Uncia and Panthera teams to run into later on. And going to be awkward handshakes from the former FlashLux players here, Hyuk and Kino, as they head into the booth, but they dominated, and Rhea looks to be a great shot caller on the Diva.
Yeah. And it's just a shame. I do genuinely feel bad. FlashLux, this is probably, again, their best chance to make it out of the groups into the round of 8. But with this loss, you know, not picking up a single map, at least being competitive on Lijiang, it just seems like maybe these guys are destined yet again to be at the bottom of the standings of their group unless they can get themselves together, because I don't like talking ill of Fleta or Vale.
Yeah.
There wasn't much ill to say of Vale, I suppose, in this series, but Fleta definitely did not play to the level that we wanted to see from him, that we expected from him, because he has always been one of the beacons of hope here for Flashlux.
I think
so. It just hurts that much more, and we have to be that much harsher because we've come to expect a lot from him.
Yeah, we've come to expect a lot more. And there were definitely communication issues, you could tell. The most egregious of all was when we saw the dive in and the use of self-destruct, and we saw the Deadeye come out afterwards, so very clearly D.Va was just going to come up and meet him at the top. Vale, of course, I'm speaking of. This was a messy series. They're not out of the group, but I think we have to lower expectations even further for this team after what we saw today. And on the opposite side of things, NC Foxes looked good. Rhea, great on the shot calling. They were mentality-wise very good, but they haven't really been tested yet. So if you're gotten on the hype train for the Foxes, let's hold off until they face off against the Kongdoo teams.
Yeah. Certainly against Uncia. If NC can come up with a victory there, then they will be looking like a shoo-in for that second place spot out of the group. But Flashlux, you know, we'll take a look at the play of the game.
Oh,
from
Kalios.
All right, well, this isn't too
Probably
shocking.
the jump. Oh, no, not the jump. Rip.
Oh, this is going to be the one. Yeah, he's just going to scoop everybody up, I believe. Yeah, right here in the choke.
Yeah, watch. He's like, for this trick, I'll make them all disappear.
And they do. Just with the help of Reinhardt, they go ahead, knock them all out. So that was from our first series. If you guys missed it, Afreeca Freecs Blue picking up a 3-0 as well. But yeah, NC Foxes, they could beat Kongdoo Uncia. Seems like they would be the team moving out in that second place spot. But, I mean, nobody wants to see, I especially do not want to see Flashlux go 0-9 again here in Apex Season 4. It's never fun to watch a team get completely stomped out like that. So hopefully they can turn it around. Hopefully Fleta can find himself and, you know, kind of be re-inspired to hit that level of performance that we saw from him before. But for now, it is another 0-3 loss for them. Double today. Afreeca Freecs Blue pick up the win, and now NC Foxes.
And definitely no disappointment on the side of the Orcas today. If you missed the first series, it's definitely worth a watch. There were definitely moments where you could see the lack of coordination that Afreeca Freecs Blue has, because obviously, surprise, surprise, they're a less standing roster. In fact, Geguri playing her first televised match today was not on the roster that pushed through challengers. So I feel like, you know, for Orcas, we can set the bar a little bit higher than maybe we would have thought going into the series.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have to agree with you. Orcas did put up a bit of a fight there. So there was, you know, clearly some issues, but things that can be worked on. So looking forward to seeing them bounce back from that loss. They didn't seem disappointed at the end of it. But looking forward to our next matches here on Friday. Same place, same time. It's going to be Metabellum, or Bellium, depending on how you want to pronounce
you ask,
going up against CONBOX. And that could be a very difficult one for them, as they didn't have the greatest showing on their launch. But then we'll have Lunatic-Hai coming back in for for Apex Season 4 reigning champions, going up against MVP Space, now the sole MVP team that we have here in Overwatch.
I mean, MVP, you could draw a lot of parallels to Flashlux in terms of their performance, but they weren't able to consistently stay in. Some have swapped positions with their sister team, Infinity, now dissolved. And yeah, that series, I mean, two-time defending champion against Space could be a stop, we'll see, but I want to see where Space stands with an updated roster and, you know, in this new meta.
I also want to see if Lunatic-Hai is going to be bringing out the likes of Who Are You? So perhaps we could see him. They've already confirmed that he is still on the roster and will be playing. So very good chance that we could be seeing him on Friday. So definitely some games that you want to tune back in for. We'll see how CONBOX is going to manage without Gamsu on the roster.
Yeah, definitely going to be a new roster. A lot of changes going into Season 4, new teams and potentially new breakouts.
A lot of shuffling around.
Yeah. So, I mean, with obviously...
I'm just going to leave my hair like that. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, your hair's been like that. I was going to tell you, but I was like, how do I tell him? It's going to be weird.
You know, I'm like a parrot or something. Got the hair going on.
Yeah, a little cockatiel hair going on. But yeah, I mean, with Overwatch League on the horizon, players getting picked up and whatnot, I mean, there's always going to be shuffles for the rest of the year. So it's exciting, though. I feel like you get these almost fan-created rosters in your head, and you think, what if he was on this team and he was on that team? And, like, I think they would work really well together, and, you know, that kind of roster shuffling is always very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, and then that's just, of course, even happening even more now that Overwatch League is a thing. It's like, oh, well, what if you combine these guys? This could be the strongest 6-man roster. So it's a lot of that going around, but Season 4, we've had plenty of roster shuffles. So far, some of them working out pretty great, some of them not so much. We'll see more of them on Friday when we come back for more Apex action.